remember with sex ed, I remember being like, I'm just so not going to get this. I've spent like the last money in my bank account to get to this audition. I'm actually quite angry at this point, and started taking the mic and started twerking, and that booked me the job. So twerk for your life. Twerk for your paycheck.
Hello, time for Type 40 Live, materialising right here again with the live stream Doctor Who magazine show across your view screen in real time on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and for the very first time, we're streaming to X too. So hello, everybody out there in X land, and we're always in front of a live chat full of friends, fans, and companions just like you. Fans of what? Fans of Doctor Who, of course, the world's longest-running, best-loved sci-fi and fancy TV series itself. And this is where we log the past, the present, and indeed the future with a panel of pals. Hold tight, because just as the all-new era is hitting the screen just as we speak, invitations only, of course, we are here to mark our own 150th edition. Look at them all, 61 years, 15 incarnations of the Doctor. So much to get stuck into here at Type 40 Live. Hello, yes, so I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks. Welcome to the show. This is where we discuss and track the whole of the Whoniverse right here, huddled around the console room. Which console room this time? Which should it be? Well, I thought, as it's our 150th show, we'd look back through the past, through Doctor Who's classic past specifically. What was the 150th Doctor Who story? And what did the console room look like? Yeah, this is a clue, everyone. This is near enough. Anyway, this is as near as we're going to get, courtesy of the fabulous artist and crafter and model maker extraordinaire Dave Ladkin. So yeah, this is where we're going to hang out. No seating this time, but standing room only. Not for the first time. Let's bring them all in. That's after I speak to you. Of course, I've got to remind you, if you're watching on Facebook, you're in the Type 40 Facebook group, then don't forget to hit the little blue link, because then Facebook can tell StreamYard exactly who you are. StreamYard can tell us, and we can get on first name terms, so you can take your place here in the console room too. Okay, that's how it works. Where are we? So, who's first? Yeah, so filling out the squad this time are the regulars. I'm happy to say most of the regulars. Depends who's up, who's sober, and who's willing and able. First of all, I'm happy to welcome back, looking like he's on his way to a sort of Greece, a high school reunion or something, or Greece theme night. It's TV industry insider Simon Horton.
Yeah, I was just going to go for a bit of a change of a look this evening.
This whole thing.
Well, yeah, do you know, there we go. Yeah, Greece, I like it. Yeah, I've got Lenny as well. Lenny, of course, has turned up for the 150th show. Wouldn't be the same without you, would it, mate? So we got Lenny as well. I don't know how long for. Come and say hello to your adoring fans. They think he's all that. He thinks that everybody's here just for him, don't you, pal?
He's not far. He's not far off the truth.
Not far off.
You've obviously just finished at the Hells Angels meeting. When did that?
That's what I've done. Yeah, I'm doing the James Dean look tonight.
So what's your guess, Simon? Which do you think was the 150th classic Doctor Who story?
Oh, I think I know the answer to this one, but I can't think what the answer is. It's not the Stones of Blood, is it?
No,
because that's 150th. That's 150th episode, I think, isn't it? I think episode 1 is 150th episode. I really haven't got a clue. I really wouldn't even begin to hazard a guess.
Let's see if our other long-time co-host and yes, as starry-eyed as ever. Yes, she's there. And I think, have you opened the first one yet? No? I think we're fine. Starry-eyed girl, Sarah Graham, welcome back.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Lenny. Hi, Simon. Hello, Dan. I've already talking about but I've already got my prop ready in case there is shooty talk.
Yeah.
In case there's shooty talk.
Yeah, getting from the thumbnail. There is going to be. So.
He may well crop up. It's a prop, everybody. A prop.
Yeah, it's a prop.
It's a prop. It's empty, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Simon, you obviously looked at that Ncuti article and thought, I'm going to look like Ncuti Gatwa.
And do you know what? I've just kind of thought, if Ncuti can get away with this stuff, so can I, quite frankly.
And you can pull it off a lot better.
Oh, you're very kind.
Crazy talk. Absolutely
I
crazy.
think the 150th story, it's a McCoy story.
Okay, what makes you think that?
Because I'm trying to think of the...
You're going to do better than me, whatever happens.
Well, it's got to be 80s. That kind of look. I mean, obviously, we didn't see much of the TARDIS console by McCoy because it was falling apart.
No.
Is it, Dan? Delta and the Bannerman?
No, it isn't.
Oh,
better luck.
no.
All right, I'm a warm or cold.
Very warm indeed.
Okay, chat, help us out.
And there's various comments in the chat. I think everybody's in the chat has actually got it right. I have spied in the chat.
Of course,
I think
they
he's
have.
right.
Whilst we're both cheating for the answer to that, I'll bring on somebody else and see if they have the answer that we seek. Now, he hasn't been on yet. I don't think he's been on since Easter, but I'm happy to welcome him back. He's been up to his neck in it, or should I say, up to his sort of eye level, because he's been writing, producing, and directing his award-winning web series coming back for a second season. That's Rebecca Gold too. You can make time for episode 150 of Type 40 Live in David Deers, the Mega Geek.
Hello.
Always giving big build up. Hello.
Too cool.
You're humble, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have no idea the answer to your question, Dan.
You just need to read the chat. Seriously, mate. You just need to read the chat.
Well, that'd be cheating, wouldn't it? I've
already played my card and got it wrong, and so I can look in the chat quite frankly.
I thought it was Delta as well, but it isn't, obviously. So there you go.
No, that would have been too obvious.
Is that a model, by the way? Is that a little model, or is that like the actual set?
All CGI, the work of Dave Ladkin.
Okay.
Isn't it beautiful?
Find Dave
it's
on Twitter.
Gorgeous, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Obviously, there are lots of clues in the background. This isn't actually from the story itself, but it's the nearest we could sort of get. And there's never a bad time not to look at Dave's fabulous artwork, of course there isn't. And there's never a bad time either to connect with our other long-term panelist. She's been on right since the very start, practically the start. I'm happy to say she's back again. There's one born every minute, and this one's name is Charlotte Shields.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Charlotte.
Hello. I have no idea. Do not ask me the slightest. My first thought is Simon doesn't know. I
do now because everybody's told me in the chat, but I wouldn't have known.
There's a clue in the background, and I've just seen it hung up on the hat stand.
Yeah.
Well, I said that you were very, very warm, didn't I? In fact, Sarah, you were piping hot. But it seems like everybody who's got it is gonna get it. So we may as well reveal the legend now, as Les Dawson used to say. So the answer that we seek is, of course, Dragonfire. That was story 150 of the classic series. It introduced Ace and waved bye-bye to Mel, played by Bonnie Langford, didn't it? Unforgettable, emotional scenes. They tugged at your heartstrings, didn't they, Simon? As all Doctor Who fans wondered, what on earth?
Yeah, I don't remember they tugging it really at my heartstrings. I have to be perfectly honest, but I'm sure. Yeah, I'll pretend that they did. Yes, they did.
For the sake of argument, yes, they did.
Yes,
And that was obviously the departure, the regular departure of Bonnie Langford as Mel, and now she's sort of back by the looks of things, Charlotte, isn't she?
Yeah, well, she had a tiny bit in the specials. Let's see what she has in the actual series.
Yeah, we keep seeing pictures of her out on location, all over the place, both in London and in Wales, in Cardiff, and yeah, good to see. So everybody's primed and ready. 150 shows. Can you believe it?
Are you sure you've added these up right, Dan? I just can't believe we've done 150 shows.
It's a sobering thought, isn't it?
I said in the chat, it's like, where's the time gone?
No idea.
What was there? Who was on the first episode then?
You were.
You were definitely. I think you were the only one here that was on the first episode. I think.
Was Starry not on as well? I'm sure it was Starry and Ian at least.
I can't remember.
Can you remember being there, Sarah?
I can't. No, I could be.
I know I was. I definitely was.
If I wasn't, I was probably saying. No, I don't think. I'm sure Ian was one of the first.
Was there?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, you were definitely on the first show.
You were there, so were you, Sarah. Of course, the first sort of pilot show. We're talking about the first pilot show that we made. So yes, Sarah and Ian, you were both there, along with a few guests. So we got Gary Beaker, he was on, and a Blue Bonnet, she was on. Now of the Galactic Gals, we had Bolstrick on as well.
Of course, I remember now. I remember, yeah.
Oh God, I just find it funny that both of you were like, I don't remember.
Blanked it out.
A lot's happened since then.
Yeah.
Dan, do you know what month and year we're talking? How long ago was the 100?
This would have been, well, that was the pilot. That was the sort of pilot show before we started doing regular shows.
Yeah.
So that was, I think that was around June of 2021.
June 2021. Okay, it's about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a good chunk of time, and all these things, all flashing back before your eyes. I dare say they are for people in the live chat as well. Yeah. And of course, here we are in 2024, and it's all changed, isn't it? In the TARDIS as well as here at Type 40 Live. So here we are. We have this, the brand new console room, looking a little warmer than the pictures that we last saw. How do you feel about this, Ian? You know, you're not a fan either. Do you like it now they've changed up the lighting a little?
Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to comment on Ncuti's reign at all. Good luck to them. That's all I can say.
You're not feeling it.
Don't care.
You're not feeling it, are you?
Just don't care.
Have you watched any Doctor Who in the last 2 or 3 weeks since we've last seen?
I have actually. I've watched.
What have you watched?
I watched the. Oh God, I'm really useless with the episode. I had to watch Adric's death again. So I watched that again.
Earthshock.
That's it. Earthshock. I watched that.
One of the best. And
you know what? Right. I did feel sad when I first saw it. I was laughing because I didn't really like him. But when I saw it recently, which was like a week ago, I did feel sad actually. And the performance.
Oh, you're all heart, Ian. You're all heart.
The performance from Nissa and what's her name? I can't remember the other girl's name. Tegan. It was very moving. Their performances are really good. So yeah. That's the last episode I watched. That was on the box set actually. What was it? I think it was.
That's the season 19 box set.
Season 19.
Yeah. So yeah, and it looks really nice as well. They did a really good job in put it. I saw you guys did a opening of the Tom Baker Blu-ray. Was it Blu-ray?
Yes,
that's the next one I'm
40
getting.
Extra. We unboxed season 15. Yeah, didn't we, Sarah?
Yeah.
We did. It would. Yeah, and it's doing surprisingly well. I honestly didn't think people would be that interested in us opening it up, but yeah, there we go.
Yeah, no, it looks really nice as well, and all the stuff in there. That's the next one I'm definitely getting. So yeah.
It's stunning, Ian. Really,
Tom Baker Gold.
Yeah, totally.
based.
Indeed.
Yes, we couldn't agree more. This time, of course, we're bringing you up to date with the countdown to the new season, flicking back through the pages of times past too, and celebrating this fabulous fandom itself. It's our mix of news, views, nostalgia, and banter. But of course, it's not complete without you out there. So we'll be taking in all the comments from the live chat across YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X as we go. So we're just a couple of weeks out from a brand new season of Doctor Who, and there's a new trailer too. So let's just take a quick look at that, shall we? How about this?
I have lived, I have loved, and I have lost. I've experienced everything.
We did almost die.
But we lived so much too.
Yes, we did.
So there we are. A short one, but that's from Disney Plus there. And this key art is starting to turn up everywhere with the TARDIS lamp lit up with the plus. Still taking a bit of getting used to, but there it all is. So the promo and the publicity does seem to be finally beginning, doesn't it, Charlotte?
Oh yeah, and we sort of predicted this, that some like 2 weeks, 3 weeks out, it would suddenly start picking up. And they need it, to be honest. God, do they need it at the moment? So, and I think they need to have very much a change of tact, considering how the first lot went. So we'll see if that's actually what I am a bit intrigued with. Are we going to see actually some people in the marketing at least realizing we need to try and really entice now? We need to really get fans excited now, because what they were doing before was not having that effect at all.
Well, they're really trying in the States, so they don't just get the 2 episodes on that date to launch the season. They actually get 3. It's been revealed that the first 3 installments of Ncuti's era are all going to drop on Friday, May the 10th. So this is the information from Disney Plus itself. They're launching with the premiere in big red letters of the Church on Ruby Road, Space Babies and Devil's Cord. It's as if they gave the Church on Ruby Road so little publicity on that platform. They're kind of taking it as read that nobody was watching, and so they're effectively launching it again.
Yeah, that's really peculiar.
That's not a good sign, is it?
It's not a good sign at all. No, not a good sign at all. Disney Plus as platforms go, I mean, they are probably the biggest, aren't they? That's certainly the impression that I get. But obviously, in Britain, it's still very much about the iPlayer and about BBC One. Now, we are joined by another panelist, I'm happy to say, from another territory. It's a bit of a sticking point, Disney Plus, where he is, but he is the only real-life time traveller among us, so his view is always welcome. He said that he can see the inside and the outside of the time continuum, and he knows what Friday is like long before we do. Welcome back to the panel, Matt Pott.
Hello. Hi.
Hello,
Matt.
Hello, Matt. Happy to have you.
With that Disney Plus thing, when Doctor Who started on there, I ended up having to. It was so badly publicised, and that on the actual app, you had to search for it. You actually had to go into the search bar and actually type in Doctor Who, and it would come up.
So
it wouldn't actually be on the main screen.
There wasn't a tile at the top next to Bluey and all the other shows.
No,
it wasn't even like a banner or anything, even if it wasn't a tile.
I think there was one. There may have been one for the Church on Ruby Road, but there was none for the specials at all. And you had to search for it yourself. No, well, it was weird actually. I was like, is it actually on here? And I was like, oh yeah, it is. And it's like, yeah, you actually had to type for it and look for it.
Do you know if they're going with this strategy in your territory as well then, Matt, with 3 episodes effectively being a premiere on Friday,
well, I mean,
May the 10th?
No, I doubt it, because the Church on Ruby Road is still available on Disney Plus. So, it'll just be Space Babies and Disney Cord, or Devil's Cord, whatever it is. It's Disney, really. Devil's is the devil, isn't it? But, I mean, it's who knows what they're planning. It's a weird thing. I think it's on at like 9 a.m. in the morning here on May 11th. That's our.
It all just begins to feel a bit sort of messy, doesn't it? You think back to the day when a season premiere was a big thing. and everybody will be looking forward to it. This just feels all a bit messy, and a couple of episodes here, and now it's 3 episodes, and is it on Disney? Yeah, exactly. That Colin.
Yeah, that sums it up well.
It just really feels just fudged and messy, and just it just sort of slipped out under the radar, and nothing particularly exciting. I don't know. It just feels weird. Weird.
It's starting to get this whiff of that. It's like they want to drop something as fast as they can because they're not sure how it's going to go. I mean, I don't agree with doing 2 at once, but obviously that seems to be a thing that Disney does. But to drop 3, now it just feels like just get it out as fast as we can, and then we can forget about it. And
but the thing is, again, Sarah, if it's a Disney thing that they drop 2 episodes at once, so basically we're beholden to Disney, aren't we? If that Disney have presumably said we want 2 episodes to go, and so that's what we all have to do. The BBC has to do the same thing. It just really begins to worry me.
Or it's an acknowledgement that they loused up the launch of this back at Christmas.
Yeah, it's almost like a redo, isn't it? Now that they're putting the church episode out again, again. It's them admitting that it didn't have a splash, it didn't have an impact. Let's try again. That's exactly what that is.
But no fanfare, still no fanfare. It still just feels almost apologetic. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't. I think back, for example, to the end of series 1, the Chris Eccleston series. That was the end of the series. That wasn't even the premiere. That was the end. But if you remember, they literally over a few days they did a countdown to it launch
on the website.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
It felt so major, so epic. So if you're not there, you will miss out on this. And this is just like, it just almost feels, let's say, just apologetic.
It's like last week. I can update. I've seen 1 trailer now on BBC for Doctor Who.
I've seen it.
And that's it.
They are turning up. I mean, this is the portion of the show where we give you a breakdown of happenings from across the Whoniverse. It's literally all happening now as we speak in London at the press screening of Space Babies, which is all new Doctor Who Season 1's opening instalment. They've put up a fancy, it's a sort of bit of wall, really, isn't it?
Oh, damn.
That's about it, really. But there are a few pictures.
Dan, you're not doing the hyperbole right. This is the most amazing, devastating, biggest wall you could ever see in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
and the logo's embossed.
Well, they put some laminates on the doors to the theatre. It actually looks like Sports Bar on the Hagley Road in Birmingham.
To be fair, I'm not going to lie. I saw that. I was like, "Oh, look, it's a kids' party. Isn't that cute?"
It does look a bit cheap and naff, that it has to be said.
Obviously, this is all invitation only, Ian. Are you getting any FOMO now? You're thinking you might want to have a bar of this, particularly if the real TARDIS is there too. Check this out. That looks a bit more impressive, doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks better. It looks
my invitation must be in the post. I know that I would have had one.
Where is it screening?
I'm not sure precisely, but I know it's in the dead centre of London. The last one wasn't far from you, was it, Ian? It was at Battersea Power Station. I don't think this one is, but Russell T Davies, Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson are all there in their finery. I mean, Ncuti's even dressed relatively sensibly. He's got trousers on to start.
Yeah, but those trousers, I mean, come on. Good grief. Mike, they're like, we're back to mandrels, aren't we?
Millie looks absolutely stunning.
I was going to say, Garbage, as before we went live, Garbage said to me on Messenger, "Do you think Millie's trying to compete now?" And I was like, good on her if she is.
Well, good,
she looks absolutely breathtaking.
Where was this taken, or where did they?
This is happening right now. This picture was taken about an hour ago, something like that. But the Publicity machine is going, and that entire bus has been kitted out in Doctor Who livery, and it's been all over Instagram and Facebook and the reels, all that. So it's been driving around London, and it doesn't. I think it's just been doing a bit of a circuit. It says BBC, Doctor Who, 11th of May, iPlayer, and then it's got the poster. Again, like I said, all the posters for this, all of the publicity, all revolves around the Devil's Cord episode 2.
Hold on. So they all got on the bus and they were driving around. Is that what they
Sounds
did?
like it. Cliff Richard style. Well, there's
So
one person actually on.
Oh, get you, Butler.
This doesn't make any sense. Though. So they got on the. Did they drive anywhere to? Did they?
Well, I presume they drove to the premiere. I presume they've got
Oh,
a little bit of a route round and they've been dropped at the premiere, I'm guessing.
Okay.
Looks like it.
I love how, like, do you think Russell just kind of grabbed hold of Millie and went, "You come in. We've had enough of this. All this speculation. Get out there and look like you're part of this." It's like he's holding her arm behind her back, like, you will come to this premiere.
Yeah, you could be right.
Honestly, it is lovely to see her there. So, because all we've heard is shooty, like there is another person in all of this. So I am delighted that she is there and getting a moment, because she deserves to.
Yeah, because
I know.
like, because
Go on,
it's
sorry,
a doctor companion, like that should be the heart of the show. So she should be there, and she should be getting just the same amount of press attention as Shooty.
It sounded right. Well, you say press attention, but I think a lot of the press, their attention is on what really matters, Ian. You're going to like this. I know you are. It's what they have. You're probably wondering what they're going to have to eat, aren't you? How are they going to keep them amused? Because you like something to nibble on. You usually have something delivered. You usually have something delivered while you're on here, don't you? So this is... So everybody, the members of the press who've turned up, this is what they get. Look, they get this a TARDIS. I don't know what that is in the TARDIS there. But if you look inside this little box, courtesy of Darren Scott over on X, this is what you'll find inside.
Oh, it's a little bento box. It's a Japanese bento box. That's what it is. Yeah, it's a bento box. They literally are called bentos.
What's that?
Go on, sorry.
I was just about to say, what is that on the left? The big, is that the big meal? What is that?
That's cauliflower. By the looks of it, with it's some sort of cauliflower with cumin or some such. That would be the vegetarian option.
Roasted cauliflower with olives.
You've
got soft herb chutney, apple syrup, seeded dukkha, spiced squash pasty. That's vegetarian too. Artisan British cheese, crackers, and some chutney there. So that's what you've got. Anybody peckish yet? Do you fancy some of that, Charlotte?
It's a bit underwhelming, isn't
it? But I do like the idea of the bus being British, and you've got British food there. Like that
in a Japanese box, which is bizarre. But
it could have been fish and chips or pie and mash. Those are the only two options.
Pie and mash.
At least there's a bit of Britishness.
Yeah,
that's what we like.
Very vegan. No, I think it's a vegan meal, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's not vegan because it's got cheese in it, so it's vegetarian rather than vegan.
Oh, sorry, vegetarian.
But nonetheless, I'm beginning to maybe everything is vegetarian. Maybe there isn't a meat option. Perhaps, don't know. As a vegetarian, I'm not complaining, but I'm sure there are plenty of meat eaters who will be. There we go.
Where'd you put the Yorkshire pudding? That's what I want to know. Let's know.
On your head,
please, in the live chat. Yeah,
it's quite surprised they never had any rice and ting there. You know what I mean? Because Shooty's black, so you know what I mean. So I'm quite surprised. That's what they've had.
I want to know how all that's a good use of license payers' money. But there we go. That's speculation.
The get out will be that it's BBC Studios.
That's
the BBC.
That's okay then. Phew.
Yeah, they're sort of two cheeks of the same arse. That's how it works. So this was the screen. This is what was on the screen just as the action was about to begin again, courtesy of Darren Scott over on X. And it says, "Hello, Doctor Who fans. Well, they're not fans. They're members of the press. We're the bloody fans.
Yeah,
hello,
quite
Doctor
right.
Fans. What you're about to watch won't be broadcast until the 11th of May, 2024. Well, the 10th. It's only the 11th for us, the shafted Brits.
Yes.
Please help us, Matt. It says, please help us to keep this secret by not sharing on social media or even telling your family and friends. Thank you. So do you think that people... I mean, that is right, though, isn't it? That members of the press don't blurt all of this out. It's bad enough for the rest of us with all these time zones, Matt, isn't it? What do you think of this?
What do I think about it? Jeez.
I can't even make heads or tails of it. If you were a member of the press, would you be able to keep the secret for the next couple of weeks? That's what I'm asking you.
Well, I mean, no, it's a bit stupid, isn't it? It's not exactly a secret, is it? Is that a joke?
You do. I've always wondered what the point of this kind of thing is. Why show an episode to the press 2 weeks before and then ask them not to say anything about it? What's the point? I don't.
Which episode did they show? Sorry, which episode did they show then?
Well, I still think it might be Space Babies and the Devil's Cord. Otherwise, why put the bloody thing on the poster?
Yeah, I'm guessing it'll be both. There'll be 2 episodes going out on the 10th of May.
Simon, I think that's a very good question. Why show it to them if they're not allowed to talk about it? I mean, maybe it's so they can write up their reviews in advance.
They want them to talk about it, don't they? That's the strategy, isn't it?
Ian,
but it's the influencers.
Ian, they want them to say nice things about it.
Yeah.
So they hit them with the food. They give them they give them a sense of privilege, a sense of exclusivity. I think that's what it's all really about. A sense of satisfaction, knowing that they've seen something that somebody else hasn't.
But they always try to persuade them with stuff like when I went to see Dune 2, they basically had a huge layout with food and stuff and popcorn and drinks, and it was all free and stuff like that. So they're trying to sway you to say, yeah, it was really good. I don't know. I mean, they obviously want the press to talk about it, don't they? Otherwise, they wouldn't say, "Please help us keep it secret."
Nothing wrong with
that. I mean, if it's bad, I guess they'll be reporting it. If it's good, I guess they're reporting it. I don't know.
It's just that image that my heart sinks, because that is just not Doctor Who. I don't care what anybody says. That just is not Doctor Who.
It's not only the image, Simon. It's not only the image. It's the whole concept of this Doctor
Who. No, I know, but my point being that it's kind of encapsulated in that image. You know, if this is the image that we're putting out, as I say, that's just not what I signed up for with Doctor Who. I just couldn't feel less interested or excited. The image is terrible.
I didn't sign up for this at all.
Boss yourselves up, everybody. Boss yourselves up. Next. Remember, Ian, remember.
Good luck, everybody.
So this has definitely taken on a life of its own, Ian. You weren't on the last show, so you didn't see. No. You've got some fan art here. This is the mega fan. I think he's your biggest fan here.
Oh, cool. That is cool. It's look, we can laugh about this, but it's a real shame that Doctor Who's going this way. I mean, as I keep saying, I don't care if people like this. I'm out. I can't be watching this. This is not Doctor Who as far as I'm concerned.
No,
good luck. Yeah.
You've definitely got to have a sense of humour. That's for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I think our senses of humour are doing quite well, considering. But what we should really do is go and check out the people in the live chat there across YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and now on X, and see what they've got to say about all of this nonsense that we're spouting.
Welcome to Type 40.
Yes, thank you for your patience, everybody, whilst we warm our seats and brains and get our mouths running here about our favourite subjects here at the 150th Type 40 Live. We've got so many comments from so many regular names, returning names, and new people too that have found us, perhaps because we're streaming to extra platforms for the very first time. Scroll back as far as we can and see what we can pick up here from the live chat. Wow, what there really is a lot. Thank you, everybody. Okay, we'll get there. We have a good evening from Richard Brooks there. Good evening, Richard. The Lenny fan club is in, I'm happy to say.
Yeah, and I'm afraid Lenny is out. He has gone. He's vacated. He's gone back to his bed in the other room.
Do you think he's gone to watch one particular Doctor Who story? Because obviously, even though none of you guys knew the answer, people in the live chat didn't. I suspect Lenny did. Did he know what the 150th story in classic Doctor Who was? Did he know, just like Adam Dare did and Robert Payne did, that it was Dragonfire, the Sylvester McCoy season 24 season closer?
Everybody seems to know it in the chat. We were a bit rubbish on the panel, it has to be said.
We've got an evening all from Daryl Joyce.
Hello, Daryl. Daryl was asking earlier whether there's a diary later on. Could be.
Oh, Oh yes, get drooling now, everybody. Get drooling now. Hello, all says Wen.
Hello, Wen.
Hello, Wen.
Good evening, Wen. We've got YW in the live chat too,
Hello, Vanessa.
and Vanessa Law as well.
Hi, Vanessa.
Long time supporter and moderator of the channel. Thank you so much for joining us this evening for us. I think it's morning for you, isn't it, Vanessa? But thank you again. Time Lord Victorious is here too with a hi all.
Hello.
Hello, TV.
Hello. God, so many here. We've got Michael Q too. Hello. Darren from the Darren Zone asks, "What's Ncuti Gatwa been up to?"
Whoops.
I like it, Darren.
Oh my word!
This is
This is what keeps us sane. It's this sense of solidarity.
It's a giggle.
It
Oh, don't
definitely
say
is.
that. Wasn't that an episode? The giggle.
Oh, sorry to spoil it.
Ada McGear's into hello, one and all. Just busy touching grass or not? Ooh. I guess based on Shooty's comments. So many comments. In fact, there's been several articles published just in the last hour or two.
No!
Everybody enjoy. Oh, you have to wait and find out, mate. Let's see what we've got time for. Doctor Whovian Forever watching on the X side says, "I'm so excited, I can't wait. Happy to have you here, Doctor Whovian. I'm gonna have to call you DWF. I think that's a long one. That's a long one to get out. It's the yeah. People do not like the cross on top of that TARDIS in the Disney Plus publicity picture, do they?
No, it looks like they're at the crucifixion.
That's pretty apt, isn't it? Let's face it.
Hi guys, says Bunch of Wallace.
Hello, Bunch.
Always good to see
we
you
are
as well.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
I'm proud of it.
Psychic Beat says, "I'm still looking forward to it. I can't lie. I'm going in not expecting it to be as good as when I was little, but still enjoyable." You know, in all seriousness, I think that's the best way to approach Doctor Who in adulthood. I've always tried to be generous towards this show because the show's been really, really good to me. So I tolerated a couple of seasons of Jodie Bloody Whittaker, for heaven's sake. So I do view that it's up to me, up to a point, to kind of run with the show and place a bit of faith in it. But everybody's got their lines in the sand, I think, haven't they, Simon? That's the thing. It's up to the individual.
Yeah, it's totally an individual thing, and I think we're all kind of dealing with it in our own way. And I to be honest, I was really trying very, very hard up until really the last couple of weeks when I've now just fallen off a cliff and given up. I was trying hard to find something to like in it, to be positive, but I've given up now. But good, if you are positive, brilliant, and I really hope we all do. We hope it meets your expectations.
Because for the people finding us for the very first time, our belief, our philosophy here at Type 40 has always been that we're aware that this show means different things to different people.
Totally.
So a number of different criteria. Sometimes it depends on how old you were when you first found it, doesn't it, Sarah? Sometimes it depends on whether you're there for the monsters and the sort of low rent scares, or whether you're there for the denser, harder sci-fi angle of it. And there are plenty of people too that just enjoy a bit of campery, because there is that camp edge to Doctor Who as well, which a lot of people do find appealing. It's not my sensibility, but I do accept that a lot of people do come for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, we're all connected to it in different ways. And yeah, it is really just, you know, mileage may vary. But yeah, it's just been a rough few years, and I think we just wanted some kindness and some unity back in front, and we don't seem to be. We thought we were until like the past couple of weeks, as Simon said, and now all hell is breaking loose. It's getting more difficult to find that charity and that goodwill, because there's only so many times, you know, you can have your head smashed against a wall.
Yeah.
I do feel a bit, Matt, like I'm Rick Mayall having my head beaten in with a cricket bat by Aid Edmondson when it comes to this show.
Well, funny you should mention that. It kind of reminds me of the Simpsons episode with Itchy and Scratchy. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's the kids show, and like everybody, all the kids watch it, and that's all they watch. And then one day it just gets really, really so bad that they actually go outside and play. And I'm thinking maybe it's time that I've grown out of it, and it's time to maybe find something else. Like Ncuti says, get a hobby.
As I recall, in that episode, they changed the whole format of Itchy and Scratchy, didn't they? And that's why the kids kind of left in droves.
Well,
Just
the mother,
like Doctor Who.
wasn't it? Marge actually changed the show of Itchy and Scratchy so it didn't have any violence in it.
That's right.
Yeah. So now we've got Doctor Who that doesn't have any Doctor Who in it. So there you go. Maybe the kids might
Everybody wins.
They're making all sorts of superhero films without the actual superheroes, and then the various replacements and things. Holden 190, Black Panther movie without Black Panther in it. Holden 190 says, I'll watch out of a sense of obligation. That's quite sad to read, isn't it? I mean, it's nice that Doctor Who can inspire that kind of devotion, but it's quite sad too that people are pushed that far where, oh, well, I suppose I'll watch it. It shouldn't be that way, should it?
That's me.
No, it shouldn't. We should be excited. We should be looking forward to. And I think people know I've been quite generous, I think, in the run up to this. And even I'm feeling at the moment a bit like, come on, give me something that I can proper go, yes, that's brilliant. Like, that's really good marketing, or that's a really good interview, or
you're
something.
gonna like it. You're gonna like it. I got a feeling you're gonna like it. You're gonna not like a few episodes, but you're generally gonna like it. That's what I reckon.
Well, I think the problem is though that they're already setting up, like we've all said about, even if there's really good stuff in the episodes, they've created an atmosphere of hostility.
That's not going to stop you, though. That's not going to stop you. You're going to watch it, aren't you?
Doesn't mean I'm going to like it, Ian. I have to watch.
I reckon you are. I reckon you're going to like a few episodes. I reckon
it won't stop me personally. I'm able to segregate all of that. I'm able to compartmentalize it all off, but plenty of people aren't. And I think when it comes to the mainstream audience who haven't got this devotion to the show that we have, and that our friend there in the live chat Holden has, I think with them it's a case of they're either turned off or they're turned on. There's always something else. There's always plenty of other things vying for their attention, either on traditional television or on streaming, or doing whatever.
Well, it's double-edged sword, because if you're a fan of Doctor Who, you tend to seek stuff out like news stories. And then so you seek out the news stories to see if there's anything exciting, and you get this barrage of drivel that we've had for the past 2 weeks, and it puts you off. But if you weren't a fan and you didn't seek it out, chances are you probably wouldn't be aware of what Ncuti's been coming out with, so it wouldn't affect. But the problem is, for Joe Public, Doctor is that far gone because it's not been a consistent thing for a number of years. Some people still think Jodie's the Doctor. Some people think David Tennant's still the Doctor. Nobody in the public quite knows what's going off anyway. So I just can't see how this can be a success. And it really could have been if, all these things had come together. And I'm sure, Charlotte, if you hadn't heard all these interviews and things, the so-called publicity, you'd probably be going in a lot more optimistically.
I probably would, but even if I just go off the trailers, I think they've had one really good trailer, honestly, out of the 3. I think I would sort of class as trailers at the moment. And that's my and I think what you're talking to, Sarah, is like the more Joe Public stuff. Like, they wouldn't care about interviews. They wouldn't seek that stuff out. They'd look for, like I said, trailers, big press events. Like that what would catch the attention. Like Simon said, having a countdown, which they did for the launch in 2005. Brilliant idea.
It's a different way of advertising now, isn't it?
Something it's completely different, Ian. And that's my point. They needed, even if it was just one, really that's what I meant at the beginning, enticing, really catch your eye, really get you going. Even if he has said a load of stupid stuff, you can go, no, but that was really good marketing. And I think the marketing, and that's another aspect from Ncuti and Russell, I don't think the marketing's been that good, honestly.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this, they're pushing the gay thing in Doctor Who far more than actually thinking about a really good trailer. Like, as Simon says, the first trailer we saw with Chris Eccleston running with that big fireball behind him, that was it. That was it for me. I was like,
totally. We were all sold on that straight off.
Yeah, but I don't know what they're doing now.
I think the last great publicity they actually did was when Peter Capaldi went and did the world tour.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
That was
incredible.
that made the news here.
It's
I
not
was
about
really proud of the show.
It's not about Doctor Who anymore. It's about the sexuality of Ncuti. That's what they keep.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually,
in recent weeks, in the last fortnight, it's become about Ncuti's identity, the circus around it. I mean, one would hope that's going to level out. It's got to level out at some point. They've got to start talking to the mainstream media soon.
Questions.
No, they're not. I mean, you expect magazines like Attitude to ask about things like that, just the same as you'd expect a magazine like Empire to ask an actor what his favourite film was. But yeah, it really is time they started talking to mainstream platforms, publications, shows and broadcasters now. Well past time. Time Lord Victoria says Doctor Who will always survive in our hearts and memories.
True. That is true.
Says, sadly, I believe the new series will meet my expectations. So I think Crimpling could be a bit black pilled there. Happy to have you here on the show, Crimpling Doubloon. It wouldn't have been the same without you.
Yeah, I'm the same as Crimpling.
Tony L has come to our rescue, Simon. He's confirmed here that the premiere is at the Regent Street Cinema. It's just been revealed. So it's not as people in the live chat there on YouTube had got it pinned down. They thought it was at the Weatherspoons. We have it.
I have no idea where that is.
It wasn't at the Spoons. They were at a fancy cinema instead, rather than a sports bar.
Did they put that what is it? TARDIS on the doors of the cinema, or is that where they're going to do the rap party thing?
Could be the Jets. All I know.
Jets.
Who knows?
I just want to know who's on the guest list.
Ncuti and his friends. I don't know. Yeah, someone.
It's just Ncuti. And his ego.
And a couple of mirrors.
And Russell will be there.
Yes, that's Ncuti. Do you want to bring a +1? Does my ego count?
But I mean, I'm pretty sure that they've got guests there because that's the whole point of a press.
Yeah, of course.
Unless it's just for the press, of course. I don't know. You know, I just got a problem with the concept of this Doctor Who now. That's why I won't watch. You know, I don't think it's Doctor Who personally, but you know, if everybody wants to watch it, they can watch it. You know, so I ain't got nothing against them. So yeah, that's why I stopped. So anyway,
still come and hang out with us, man.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, of course.
Yes, Paul Cross is in the live chat as well, and so is Nicholas Horton there. I'll never miss an episode of Doctor Who. Nicholas proclaims, even if the upcoming season is terrible, Nicholas is in it for the long haul. I think a lot of Doctor Who fans do feel
what a devoted man.
Well, the thing is that it does break my heart, Nicholas, because they're taking you for granted, love. You know, all these devoted fans, and we've been called names, horrible insults, slurs.
That's why I'm stepping back, Sarah. That's why I'm stepping back.
No, I'm just a.
They don't deserve our viewership. But
Matt, how mediocre are you feeling this week?
Yeah, that's right. Yes,
my mediocrity is about level at the moment. It's somewhere mid-level.
Oh, I'm so boring.
We've got a comment here from Crimpling Doubloon. It says that David Tennant is still the Doctor for him.
Well, he is still the Doctor. That's all. He's out there somewhere, and he is still the Doctor.
That doesn't help either.
We know where he is. He's stopping at Donna's house, probably on the couch, knowing the way he was acting in those specials.
No, he's got his own house now.
He's got the TARDIS, isn't he? He's got his own TARDIS. He can go in the TARDIS.
No, but that's not his house. That's the weird thing. He actually has a normal house. Which is...
It is. The more you think about it, it is a trifle odd.
Yeah, very strange.
Can you remember in the Impossible Planet when they realise they're stranded and the Doctor's horror at having to think about having to get a house with windows and
mortgage as well.
Freaks out in that.
And here we are.
And I'm like. Oh,
well, the thing is, he's got because he has his TARDIS, doesn't he? He doesn't have to stay with Donna. He can just go into the TARDIS and fly off somewhere to, have a holiday or something, and then come back. He doesn't need a house. He's got the TARDIS.
He can't, Ian, but you don't understand. He needs these brilliant women and non-binary. He can't function because you see, he's a straight white man, and he just can't do anything without the say so.
That's what I'm missing in my life. Honestly.
Holden, this is where some of us have gotten to. Holden 190, watching it on YouTube, he feels that Russell T Davies doesn't care about us fans, and I can see why people do feel that way. In fact, that's something we're going to come to in a little while. In fact, something very specifically about that. We've got we have lots more as well. If people are talking about ego, wouldn't Jelly Babies have been the logical thing to serve during a Space Baby screening?
No, because they're getting rid of the old Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's classic Who retro Doctor Who. They don't want that anymore.
Right.
Oh my God, Gary, you sounded not progressive.
We're all dinosaurs, mate. You should know that by now.
Not sophisticated enough.
That's what they want to do. They want to get rid of us, and they want to usher in this new era and this new fans of Doctor Who, don't they? So we're not important anymore. You know,
they actually did serve up Jelly Babies with the 60th specials, didn't they, Dan? You know that little bag.
Yeah, they did. To be fair, they did. Yeah.
No, but that was saying goodbye to the old generation of Doctor Who, wasn't it? That one, because
that was the last
one. Last one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Have a Jelly Baby and shut up.
Okay, we've got to move on, everybody. We've got to move on. But I'll give the last word to Garbage here in the live chat on YouTube, who says he'd rather go to the spoons anyway.
The spoons are just TARDISes, aren't they? Because they're always bigger on the they win and they just go on forever, don't they?
Well, trying to find the toilets is a lot like when Tom Baker gives Tom Baker gives directions to the swimming pool to Lena in one of the episodes. Down there, across there, down past the bins, and it's very much like that, trying to find the toilets in the average Weatherspoons. Okay, if you're enjoying all of this nonsense, and why wouldn't you? Then you might want to get more of it in your ears. And I know just the place. Head over even to our home feed at type40.podbean.com.
Everywhere.
That's where you can get all the latest podcasts. Every podcast, in fact, stretching all the way back. Our latest one is a preview of season 1 of all new Doctor Who. All 8 episodes, we go through those episode titles, those divisive episode titles that people are still reeling from. We talk about each of them and speculate about what's to come with our guest Ian Levine there, the fandom legend Ian Levine. That's up at our home feed, type40.podbean.com, or across all major podcatchers. And you're watching Type 40 Live. This is our 150th live stream edition of the Doctor Who magazine show here. Ian, you're always pieing. Every time I put these on, they were your bloody Jaffa cakes. You took them. You ate them in the first place. No, you're the one who had them.
You've scoffed them all
and eat them. You can't have your Jaffa cakes and eat them, mate. That's what it is.
I know.
And whilst you've seen in the live chat there's been a fair amount of complaining. I think some concerns have been aired, but the way we look at it, there are lots of white pills packed as well. And whilst we look to the future of Doctor Who, we keep the past close to us as well. And yes, some of us may be out. Some of us may feel differently about the show than others. But here at Type 40 Live, the doors and hearts are open, even if sometimes they're sort of wedged a little. There we are. So this is show 150. Keep the comments coming there in the live chat across YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. And leave us a comment too, by all means. We want all of them. Now, him.
I need a big dance number. That's what I'm going to put into the universe. I need the Doctor to have a big, fierce dance routine that, destroys a monster with twerking. Or maybe some death drops. And that's what will drop the monster.
It sounds reasonable when he says it like that.
When Colin says it still sounds effective.
Ridiculous.
Save me.
He's just waiting for the Valyar to turn around and go, look, Inquisitor, this is why he has to be put to death.
Yes.
Working.
Okay, moving on, everybody. As we've seen, the screenings happening and articles popping up daily now. The publicity bus is well and truly en route. We've seen that too. And if there's one item of Doctor Who merchandise that we can guarantee to do more than its bit, and has over the last 45 years, then it's the official Doctor Who magazine, isn't it? They used to call it the Journal of All of Time and Space. Do you remember that? They've just published another issue today. That's issue number 603 of Doctor Who magazine. And as ever, it's been received lately. Charlotte's laughing already. Yeah, so it's a key part of the launch of any season, isn't it? When a magazine, an official magazine, publishes a new issue, but I have to say that with the soaring cover price, we've had falling standards, and it's continued very much this month. So yes, this front cover to issue number 603 has provoked dismay, disbelief, and lots of declaration, Simon, of this is my final straw. I'm cancelling my subscription, all that kind of thing. This is the genuine front cover to the latest issue of the magazine. Yeah. Do you see what they're doing? Do you see what they're trying to do?
Mono.
Well, yeah, they're just trying to jettison just about everybody that might have a vestige of interest left in Doctor Who. I mean, this is it's just not Doctor Who, is it? What can you say? This is, like I've said earlier on, this is not what I signed up for. I'm sorry, it just isn't. What can you?
Well, this is a homage, isn't it, to the Beatles album, With the Beatles, the classic Beatles album. So you can see what they're trying to do. But what I'm confused about is why the hobbits from the Lord of the Rings there are on the cover and not the Beatles. I really can't work it out.
Need to be sued for false advertising because it's not Doctor Who and it's not the Beatles.
So actually, on both counts, they're wrong.
Good point.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, it's not all Panini's fault. Russell cast them.
Yeah, we did.
I mean, I'm sorry. Since when is one of the Beatles half Asian?
Is
one of them half Asian?
Is one of them half Asian in the show? Is that what we're saying?
Well, the actor looks like he is.
Which one?
I really don't know who's playing them, but they're clearly
on the top right.
It's not right. It looks like a woman. I'm sorry.
Well, they certainly weren't cast because they look like the Beatles. That's for sure.
Yeah, the one at the top right looks like my Auntie Anne, which is really confusing.
Well, you've got top left. That's Hair Flick from Hello Hello. You've got Williams.
Yeah.
And then you've got.
You do kind of think, what is the point in putting the Beatles in there if you're not actually going to try and get people that look like the Beatles? There's just no point. Don't do the Beatles.
Was this Andy Pryor?
Matt's completely lost it.
Oh no! I literally have just laughed so hard that my nose has bled. Seriously, that's why I had to go.
Oh my word!
That's awful.
So
that is a cover, is it?
I'm afraid so. But obviously the idea, Matt, is that this is to publicise The Devil's Court episode 2 yet again. Nobody's talking about episode 1. It's all about episode 2. And yes, so this just 3 months on from the last time, this is another Doctor Who magazine that's coming out at the $9.99 price.
You're kidding me.
Wow.
£10.
Yep. So this is the outer bagged cover. This is what you're going to see on the supermarket shelves there, as I understand it. I think that's how it works. So that's what you're going to see there. But again, the Beatles, arguably still 50 odd years. Was it 50 years since they split up? 55 years since they split up. They were the band of the 60s. Throughout the 1960s, they've got to be the most photographed men in the entire decade, probably still in music to this day. How can Russell have cast 4 dudes who look so little like them?
Can I ask, is it there must be a thing with image rights as well? So obviously they're not allowed to use their images without permission? Is that right?
So cast people who look like them.
They're not allowed to play their music, I know that.
Yes.
Playing.
That's true.
That is how bad it is.
But it's not. I mean, I'm not the biggest Beatles fan here, but even I know John Lennon didn't wear glasses in that period.
No, he didn't. That's what I couldn't work out. And the album cover that you brought up a few minutes ago, Dan, of With the Beatles, he hasn't got glasses on that cover. So what are they thinking of anyway? There we go. There's no glasses.
Wow, that is just
So you do just wonder what they're doing. It's just kind of half-assed, isn't it? They're almost doing it, but they're not quite doing it.
Why? I can't understand why they had to show their faces. Why they just couldn't do them like, in the background sort of thing, facing from the back or something
because it looks like Ncuti gets involved with the Beatles. It looks like he's going to start singing or something like that.
But they're not even. They don't even look like the Beatles.
I know. It's just but you know what? Right. Good luck. Tell me how it goes.
There's two theories here. It's either it's ineptitude.
No, it's not. They just don't know any better.
Oh, this
Sarah,
is
they don't know any better.
I heard another theory that it's because it's a different universe. This Maverick.
Yeah,
and that's why they don't look a thing like the Beatles.
Yeah. So
hang on, a different universe when my Auntie Anne was the bass of the Beatles.
Yes, your Auntie Anne was one of the Beatles.
What happened is, Dan, some Ruby steps on a butterfly.
That's right.
Your Auntie Anne becomes.
Right, okay. Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and it's like we said this, it's a historical episode with Beatles in, that they've said they're not going to have any Beatles songs because they couldn't be bothered to pay for the copyright. And then they cast actors that look nothing like the Beatles. And they're meant to be the historical.
So what's the point?
So they spent all the money on a massive TARDIS and
Shooty's wardrobe, and they ain't got any money for actual stuff.
Well, the thing is, though, why have an episode like this if you haven't got the rights to the music?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
And what's the point?
The odd thing is that doesn't Disney own some of the Beatles with their recent? They were showing documentaries with the Beatles.
Maybe.
Why didn't Disney pull a few strings and?
Or maybe there are some Beatles songs in there. We don't know. We haven't seen the episode. It's possible. Maybe there are Beatles
songs.
They've
come out and said it that they're not going to have them in.
Oh, okay.
Well, report back, guys. That's all I can say.
Yeah, thanks.
Paul Cross
I'm going to make you watch it, Ian.
On YouTube asks, am I too old to watch at 62 years of age now?
No, you're not. You are a fan. Watch.
It's not that. You are just growing up, Paul.
I think you're too old to watch this version of Doctor Who, to be honest. I think we all are. I think anybody above a 6-year-old is going to be too old to watch this version of Doctor Who.
I wouldn't even want to make a 6-year-old watch it, to be honest.
DWM readers and subscribers reeling from this cover. Matthew Pounder in the live chat finds the front cover disturbing, whereas Ezra Goldstein just says that sucks. It is just the cover at the end of the day, but people are going to judge the book by the
covers. You and I are graphic designers, Dan.
Yeah.
And, if we'd have done that, we would have been absolutely ashamed of ourselves. Seriously.
Oh, yeah. You'd get a verbal warning for something of that standard. The Photoshop is terrible.
The best Beatles inspired thing I ever saw was that gorgeous shot of Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman doing the Abbey Road thing with 2 Daleks. Yes. That was a fantastic poster. Remember that one?
Yeah,
but
of course.
It's like in this episode, the costumes, for example, off the trailers. We've all said this. The costumes look brilliant. They look authentic to the time period. Why can't they do that for every part of it? It's like you said, Starry. There's certain bits they've got really good attention to detail, and they seem to be on it. And then now, I would think quite a core concept of the Beatles in your 60s episode at Abbey Road. They get the short straw.
Well, this is going to be a musical episode. Am I mistaken? This one?
It looks like
their own songs, though.
I'm afraid so.
So there you go.
Their own songs, so obviously
especially written songs by the production team or by the writer, by whoever they're.
So Shooty's going to be singing, Millie's going to be singing.
Maybe
we've already had that already, haven't we?
Again, right? How could you say this is Doctor Who? I don't know. Good.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's
not Doctor Who.
Sean from the Review It Yourself podcast speculates it's more fromage than homage.
Very good.
Very good.
That's what you did there.
It's got to be an alternative universe, suggests Peter Harrington. I think Peter's a big Beatles fan as well, so you'll be feeling it, won't
he
you?
has got the jukebox in his TARDIS, doesn't he? Silly Gatwick, isn't he?
He has.
It's got the thing in there. So maybe he's playing Beatles song and they decide to go and visit that period. I don't know. You guys will find out.
We've got confirmation here. So the Rabbi from Another Planet here from YouTube. He's in the live chat. Hello, Rabbi, says the Beatles Doctor Who magazine cover is the backup cover. So that's inside. The main one is the one in colour. So this is the one you'll see in supermarkets then. That's the cover that's going to be front-facing. The bag, you get the Beatles. I mean,
I'd rather just have Millie on that cover.
Still not great.
It's no better, Dan. It's just awful. It's like I said before. It's just not Doctor Who, is it? It just isn't. I don't care what anybody says. However excited you are about this, and I'm pleased if you are excited. It isn't Doctor Who. Clearly, that is not a cover for a Doctor Who magazine.
Is that the font they're going with, Dan?
Well, I think it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be sort of 60s kind of graphic, isn't it, with the colours and the letters sort of moving around.
Thinking of the far up, far out, far more.
Yeah, that's from James Bond. That's from James Bond. That's from Thunderball. Thunderball, yeah.
Wow.
Which was in the 60s.
It looks like a generic poster for like a 60s musical. Well,
Austin Powers.
Yes, you
get very Austin Powers.
No,
Real Super Doctor says, I've never seen Doctor Who magazine in a supermarket. We used to get it in the supermarkets by me all the time. But something happened around 2019, 2020. I don't know what that could have been, but all of a sudden it just vanished. I wouldn't like to say. So yes, it seems like this is the one you're going to get, that you're going to see on some of the shelves.
Can't get it anywhere now.
This is our first look though. That interior cover is the first look that any of us have really had at the Beatles that are going to be seen in the episode The Devil's Chord. Now here they are again, everybody. Here they are again. One of the actors who's playing one of the Beatles, he hasn't taken this criticism very well. So take a look at this.
This is it here. I'm in the bottom right on the bottom row. That's me. I play a Beatle. And people have their opinions, which is fine. You do you. But I have been humbled very quickly by some of the comments. Let me show you. Okay, here's the first one. There are no words. Why does Ringo look like a middle-aged woman? I mean, come on. I'm clearly not a middle-aged woman. Do I need some anti-aging cream?
This guy gay?
I mean, bottom right is Howard Wolowitz.
I don't know. Never met him.
Otherwise. I do. Maybe I do have a look of Howard Wolowitz. Maybe I do. Okay? But it's just one photo, babes. One photo. Just wait until you see the show.
Who is he playing? Which Beatle is he playing?
Ringo.
Okay.
Ringo, I think so. Ringo.
Well, I'm sorry, sweetheart, but first of all, welcome to the internet. If you're an actor, you should be ready for this kind of. And just say, instead of getting all hissy about it, just say, yeah, okay, you got me. I look a bit like Howard Wolowitz. But I really love The Big Bang Theory, so that's a compliment. And just check out the show. And, I had such a brilliant
Well, at the end of the day, Sarah, the geezer has been paid for his labour, hasn't he? So I can't see the problem, really.
Sorry,
I'm surprised he's actually speaking out before the episodes are shown.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they haven't actually got some sort of
they probably encouraged
gag
him
order
to
or something
speak
on
out.
him.
It's all a bit like
you probably did a Obi-Wan. Sorry, Sarah.
It just had, the Jodie thing when she was reading out all the things
That's right.
about.
Yeah.
And just don't be snotty about it. You take it on the chin and just like, well, your work will speak for itself, won't it, love? So we shall see if you're any good.
Yeah. It's like very telling that in all the trailers so far, we haven't seen any actual clips of the Beatles yet. We've seen flashes of the episode.
We've seen pictures of what's-her-face, him with the curly red hair, whatever it is. We've seen.
Like I said, we don't know how they're going to act. We don't know how much they're in the episode. We don't know what part they're going to play in this episode. So all we have got right now is literally the look. And like Dan said, they've picked a band which is one of the most photographed, the most iconic looking bands of the century with the Beatles. So the look is important. Like, because my dad grew up during the Beatles era, and because I've chatted to him about it, and he goes, yeah, actually, the Beatles was one of the first big bands in Britain that was very almost managed in a sense of what we think now of. They all had a uniform look. They all had a very sort of precise look that was
Clean
like
cut.
half of the appeal, he would say, like the fact that they had the bob hair, that they wore the suits, that they looked quite similar, like that was all like choreographed almost. So that is important at the end of the day, and it's not been done right.
And look at it that way. Yeah, they weren't a manufactured. They weren't a manufactured band, but they were guided and they were refined. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I obviously now that's the term we would use. Back then it wasn't that idea, but like I said, it was that idea of being very media savvy and being very savvy to.
Well, they were the first boy band, weren't they?
Yeah, the boy band, like the early boy band. That's what my dad also said. Yeah, they were the prototype.
But
so
when
Matthew Pounder says this is more Austin Powers than Doctor Who.
Well, when they started off, they started doing covers, didn't they? And then halfway through, they realised the management realised they had talent, and they started writing their own music.
That's
so
right.
that's the Beatles. Yeah, I love the Beatles.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's saying we don't want exact replicas, but I mean, come on, look at the. We've had Vincent van Gogh, we've had Winston Churchill, we've had Queen Victoria.
Close. They were all close. They're all close. They all
as close as you can get. Yeah.
They look like they're channeling who they're supposed to be. You don't necessarily have to be an identical spitting image, but you do have to sort of channel. And maybe they will on screen. Maybe they will. I'm not convinced by this image at all, I'm afraid, yet. But maybe
they do look like the four grannies.
Fandom, as always with Doctor Who fandom, they haven't been passive about this, so nobody's been too impressed with either this cover or that cover. But Rafe Warbank, the Doctor Who fan artist and Big Finish cover artist, he has taken upon himself to sort of reimagine that cover and keep it in the flavour of the 1960s. That's what Rafe's served up there. What do you think of that? Is that any better?
No, I'm sorry, it isn't. I mean, Rafe does some fantastic artwork, and it's no criticism of the artwork itself. It's just the look. This is just not Doctor Who. I need this. If Ian is going to have his T-shirt with a "Good luck, everyone" on, I want this is not Doctor Who on, because that's what it is. This is just not Doctor Who. It's not what I want from Doctor Who. I'm sorry.
It's what they want. It's what they want Doctor Who to be like going forward.
I don't know what it is.
That's what they want. Because remember, Russell T was. Remember, somebody told him, "Oh, is that show with the guy that wears the costume, isn't it?" And now he's gotten rid of the costume now completely because what somebody said to him ages ago, and now we've got this. So
Rafe's put a bit more effort into it, but again, I'd be more excited if Millie was posing there with a 60s Dalek. That'd feel more like
that would work.
Would that be cool?
That would work.
Like they did with what's the name?
Is it Perry?
No. Oh God, the one that used to with John Pertwee.
Katie Manning.
Katie Manning. Do a Katie Manning type style of. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Her nude. Yeah.
I wasn't talking about that.
I see them, clinging to this, the 60s period and the time travel. That's all very well, but I want to see some monsters.
It doesn't look like that's their MO, really, does it? I mean,
we have seen a monster.
You've got your monster.
We've seen one monster.
It's about 6 foot tall and wears high heels, lipstick, and has its blonde hair piled up high on its head. It goes
red.
by the name
Is it red hair?
Red hair.
Red hair. Yeah.
That should be enough, Sarah. That should be enough, Jinx. Yes,
monsoon.
What can I say, Dan? I'm not a real fan, obviously.
The prospect of having to sit through a musical episode of any series, let alone my favourite show, I find that pretty scary. I have to say. Within the pages of Doctor Who magazine this month, they do visit this topic, this bone of contention, that of the delivery method, and the fact that people are all over the world are going to get the episodes at different times, and some people are faring better than others. And it's the Brits, the license-paying Brits, who've made the show happen and endure in the first place for the last 6 decades. It's them that have been shafted the most. And it does seem that word has made its way. Oh, shut up. Word has made its way, because this has been all over the press as well. This is from the Mail on Sunday, why we won't see the Doctor now. It's just one newspaper, but there's just a few snippets there of feedback. That's from a traditional newspaper. So you can see that this is making its way through to the mainstream, and you can bet that those are still mostly licensed fee payers who are displeased with this. I mean, somebody does say the BBC may as well show the new series of Doctor Who at midnight on Fridays, because I don't know anyone who watches it any longer. That's somewhat cruel. But the rest are people who are, fed up at getting the thin end of the wedge. Russell has addressed this, though, in Doctor Who magazine. This is what he got to say. He declares you're not having... Now, listen up, everybody. You will be told now, you're not having to change your habits to fit the show. The show is changing to fit you, Simon Horton. And it's adapting to the patterns of modern TV shows, which I believe will soon be the norm. Stay up, have a party. This includes kids too. Sarah, get the kids up, make them stay up as well. Many children attended midnight releases of new Harry Potter books. It was part of the excitement. This is the future, and it's already here.
Oh my God! How did Russell mention Harry Potter without having a coroner?
Good old Russell and his hyperbole.
But the thing is, Russell, Harry Potter was family friendly, and it was actually good for people.
And was created by J.K. Rowling, who I doubt very much you'd be a fan of.
Honestly.
Well, if you remember, J.K. Rowling was supposed to... In fact, I think she did submit a breakdown for an episode of his original run, so they do know one another. They just couldn't make it happen. It was like Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry was also kind of commissioned to write an episode too. So those are episodes that I don't think they've ever spoken about the stories either. So maybe one day they'll see the light of day somehow.
I don't know. It's a complete contradiction with what he's saying there. You're not having to change your habits to fit the show, but you are going to have to sit up to midnight with your children to watch it. Sorry, how is that not changing your habits to fit the show? Come on, Russell. Sorry, just explain that contradiction for me, please. You're a clever man, I feel sure. Please explain that one to me.
Obviously not.
And also, he's comparing the die-hard fans, and they always are the absolute diehards who go to midnight premieres if it's movies. I grew up during the Harry Potter era with the books. I adored those books. Did I ever want to go out until midnight to line up for them? No, because I'd get them from the supermarket a couple of weeks afterwards. That's how normal people buy stuff. It's the absolute, like I said, diehard who will do anything for the show type of mentality. That's normal for your family audience, your fans who aren't that way inclined, and it's not. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, we all have to be like that. It's healthy to have your fans that are more hardcore and your fans that aren't. That's how all fandoms work. Mm-hmm. So he's basically saying, well, one little group, well, they're not little to be fair, but one group in a fandom acts like this. So you all should act like this, is what he's basically saying by making that comparison.
I agree. I also agree with it. Yeah, at the end of the day, the notion that your kids can stay up that late and you should make some sort of party of it, for 8 weeks straight, for 7-8 weeks straight, just because it's not a school night. I think that's what he's sort of hinting at. It doesn't mean that people haven't got plans with their kids over the weekend. Maybe they've got to get up to play football or go here or go there. Maybe as with a lot of people, a lot of parents, not so many people work the 9 to 5 nowadays. So maybe the parents are working over the weekend and the kids have got to be with relatives or at some sort of club that they go to. I think this is incredibly short-sighted and really rather patronising and disappointing from Russell T Davies. I really was surprised. When he said this.
It does. It does come across as really patronising when you read it. It does.
I think that I don't think he viewed it this way originally. I think this is him running damage limitation. Jamie Knight in the live chat, says I work Saturday morning, so it's not likely. Russell goes on to say this. I'd especially recommend staying up for episode 7 because it's quite shocking. There might even be screaming. So he doesn't just want you staying up here, he wants you screaming at the top of your voice. That's going to go down well with the neighbours, isn't it? At 1, 2 in the morning.
I think episode 2 will be shocking, I tell you.
So presumably what they're saying here is that every week the new episode is going to be screening at midnight. So that's now a given. It is going to be screening at midnight.
That's when it drops. That's when it drops on. That's when it drops on BBC iPlayer. So the idea is that that's when it's available. And so if it means enough to you that you can share that experience with the rest of the world, and you get to see it as soon as you possibly can. If it means enough to you, then you will do as you're bidden, you see, by your superiors.
So as you say, Dan, children around the country are going to be saying to their parents, I want to stop up till midnight because Russell told me that's what I had to do every Saturday night for nearly 2 months. And what are the parents going to do? It's very irresponsible of Russell to basically say to parents, you must let your children sit up to midnight, till 1 o'clock in the morning, by the time the episode's finished, every Saturday night for 2 months. It's arrogant. He's clearly not a parent.
He's not a parent, no.
Utter arrogance.
The way he should have dealt with this is to say, yes, if you want to stay up, but it's going to be shown on Saturday night on BBC. That's how he should have worded this, basically saying, there's other options, go with what's best for you. And I think that it wouldn't have made us happier about the arrangement, but at least it would have been acknowledgement of you basically almost separated the fandom now as to who's going to watch where and how. It's sort of that acknowledgement gently to say there's different options, do what's best.
I think we're talking about somebody here, Charlotte, who thinks they've got a grasp of the culture, of the situation, and where things are going, but he's mistaken. I really don't, he's not as clued up as he thinks he is. Not anymore. Russell T Davies was ahead of the curve, not just with the content of his scripts 20 years ago, but with the culture as well. Now he isn't. He's behind the curve and behind the times. From what you've just said, though, there's a comment here from What's on the Tapes in the live chat on YouTube who says the people who aren't hardcore fans will be able to wait until Saturday, won't they? You see, to me, and that's probably true. Some of them will.
Oh yeah.
You can see from the feedback there in a mainstream legacy media newspaper. This is Britain. The principle of this for license fee payers will be audience repellent. They will resent the notion of this.
And it's not just that. Russell, if he's talking about this idea of streaming, which is a different setup to watch, it is different to terrestrial TV. But he's talking about shows that have always been streaming shows. That it's always been, you watch it either when it goes out, if it's an American show, later if you're British, or if you watch it wherever, because that's what streaming's always been set up for. But Doctor Who in this country was always Saturday night, 7 o'clock. You get your family. That's how the show has been structured for the last 60 years. So no, Russell, you're talking about a different beast, not Doctor Who. When it comes
to Charlotte, up until recently, Russell held that quite precious. He'd talk about it as being something that was worth preserving, something he believed in. Now he seems to have jettisoned it all completely. Matthew Pounder here in the live chat also says, I used to stay up and watch Hammer films as a kid, but then my parents would tell me off.
Yeah, Matthew, I'm with you on this one.
That's what a responsible parent would do. A responsible parent would do that. They may laugh to one another the next day, but they've got to be seen to uphold the boundaries, Sarah. You can't just say, because it's Doctor Who for the next 7 weeks.
Kids are different today, aren't they? Kids are very different. They don't. Look, he still thinks that kids want to watch Doctor Who. The majority of kids, they're into football, computer games, TikTok.
My two are more into Fallout. They'd stay up and watch Fallout.
There you go. But Doctor Who's really, really moving out of the area where it's supposed to be because of what they're doing. So, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody stays up till 12 o'clock to watch this show. I mean, diehard fans will, but I don't think kids will.
A question is also, sorry,
Oh, mate, you're right.
But when he's comparing people to Harry Potter books, it's like, well, with people that buying the books, were they reading the books as soon as they bought them? Would they stay up until? I mean, it takes me about 3 or 4 hours to read a book. You know,
but they're right, it's prized open, reading the book solidly as soon as
I imagine some would, not everybody. Some just enough to get it, I suppose, and be one of the first.
Yeah,
I'd have more respect for Russell if he just held his hand up and said, "Look, we've had to compromise because it's a deal with Disney."
Totally.
But I still believe in the sanctity of the Saturday night family. So you can do what you want. You can stay up, and it's like Charlotte was saying, but it'll still be there at Saturday tea time. That's all he had to say.
Yeah.
Just be a bit gracious about
we
it.
may not be any more happy about it, but I think we'd respect him a little bit more.
Yeah,
quite a lot more.
You wouldn't feel like you were being patronised too, certainly. You know, I don't need RTD to tell me that I can stop up till midnight and have a party. I would have worked that one out for myself. But gone are the days when you would have done that. You know, again, going back to, for example, the end of the Chris Eccleston series, we might all have stopped up till midnight to watch the ending of series 1. We might have done because we were all excited for it. We're not excited for this. Why would anybody want to sit up till midnight? And it's definitely, you're right, Dan, it's damage limitation on his part. It's just, and it's hyperbole. As always, it's just the RTD. He just opens his mouth and hyperbole comes out. He can't stop himself, clearly. That he's just got to constantly, he can't be honest, Sarah. He can't be humble. He doesn't understand the meanings of the words. And
but
so
that's
he
what
just
they do now.
It's spin.
Yeah, but Simon, that's what they do now. The people that are in charge of like Star Trek, Star Wars, and everything.
They're all the same.
What they do. They never apologize. They never welcome the fans. They're always about what they're pushing instead of the actual show.
It's more than that. They know better than us. They know better than fans. They know better than.
They're telling you stop up to midnight with your kids. That's what you've got to do. I know you're right, Sarah. They're thinking for us because they're cleverer than us.
And Gary Jones says not even
See,
Doctor
I
Who
don't think
fans
it
want to watch
affects
their
me as
favourite
much
show now.
because it doesn't affect me as much because the during the Matt Smith era and that they were shown here at the exact same time as you guys got it. So we got it at 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that, and it was through streaming, and then they'd show it live during the Sunday night. So
the other thing,
if you wanted to watch it early, you could. So they've done it already. It's already been a practice thing.
I mean, the thing to remember with this, Matt, of course, is we've spoken about this before, is that Doctor Who used to be just huge in the UK. So you just wouldn't have put it out at 4 o'clock in the morning. You wouldn't put it out at midnight. You just wouldn't. If you've got any sense at all, you wouldn't. So it's a minority thing. No offense, but it's a minority thing in outside the UK. The UK, it was part of British culture. It's not now. It clearly isn't. Otherwise, you wouldn't put it on at midnight. You just wouldn't.
I understand.
Hit the nail on the head there, Simon. Hit the nail on the head, mate. That's what you've done.
It's taken me a while since I've done this announcement for me to understand that's how that it's upset UK fans.
It's taking it out of the mainstream and British culture and into cult status. That's what it's doing. Minority niche status, and they're categorically saying this is now a niche show because
we're going backwards, aren't they? Because Doctor Who used to be a niche show a long time ago, and they're going backwards. And then Russell T brought it out and made sure that a lot of people watched it. You know, there was even the normies used to watch Doctor Who. It was event TV, as Simon says, but now they're going backwards because of the agenda. That's what they're doing. So,
because presumably because of the deal with Disney. It's as simple as that.
Well, that includes the agenda, doesn't it? Because that's what they're all about. So, but anyway, good luck, everybody. That's all I can say. So, good luck. Cheers.
We've got a comment here from Darren Bradley in the live chat who says it leaves the door open for people giving spoilers for those preferring to watch on BBC One.
Who cares? You know what I
mean? Well, there are people out there that still do care, Ian, and this is, and the point being that Russell again is being arrogant. It's a really good point that Darren makes there, because Russell is being arrogant, forgetting that actually people that might be waiting till tea time and such.
No, he knows, Simon. He just doesn't care.
I know he doesn't. Oh, I'm well aware of that.
Well, do you want Do you want some more? Do you want to hear what else?
Here we go.
Hang on. Wait a minute.
Oh, Lord.
Russell suggests if you want to stay spoiler-free before Saturday night's BBC One airing, it can be done.
Okay.
Ian, it can be done.
He's so patronising. Sorry.
I managed to stay spoiler-free when Game of Thrones aired.
Oh, you're so clever.
Oh, well done, Russell. And the clerk. Well done.
We just can't be as clever as you. He's just so clever.
I wish I could do a Welsh accent.
Probably just as well you can't.
Don't try. You upset Darren and Wayne.
Perhaps, Sarah, I'm not as active online as you, but managing your online activity for about 18 hours on a Saturday
so arrogant.
should be
The man is
feasible.
impossible.
All right, Russell. And what if you work online? What if that's your job?
Managing your online activity for 18 hours on a Saturday should be. He is so patronising. What a little
totally behind the times as well. He finishes by saying, unfortunately, there's always been a subset of viewers hitting the spoiler problem, like the tons of people who work Saturdays and on night shifts. So he acknowledges that it's a problem for people. So he's thinking, oh well, there's people who have a problem with this, so we'll make that problem, we'll extrapolate it, make it a bigger problem for even more people. Well,
I'm sorry, but that line, managing your online activity.
He sounds like your dad, doesn't he? Sounds like your parents.
It sounds like your parents when you're a teenager, when you're on your phone too much.
I think he's expecting.
Are you talking from experience, Charlotte?
He's expecting a lot of people to be watching
the
this
weirdo who didn't care about the phone.
Isn't he? He's expecting a lot of people to be watching this show, but I think he's going to be sadly disappointed that not a lot of people are going to be watching.
It's right. I think it's correct for somebody marketing a show to speak optimistically and to assume people are going to be interested. Because if he doesn't assume that, then what? He's not giving off the right vibe, is he? But
well, he should be more. He should be more trying to encourage the fans rather than tell them off and say stupid things like this.
It's not. He's literally given us instructions now.
Yeah, he's berating us. He's berating us.
It's like, look, I managed.
I think he's taking the piss, to be honest.
Like Starry said, he's like, look, I managed to do it, so you should.
He's got a very, very dislikable attitude these days. He really has.
Well, finally, he says
there's
more. There has never been a transmission pattern in the digital age that's perfect for everyone, Simon.
Okay,
and to be honest, if you're that online and cannot change folks, you stand a high chance of getting spoiled anyway before transmission. That's the modern world beyond my control. Again, Sarah,
this is... Sorry, excuse me.
This is somebody wagging their finger and claiming that they've got no accountability over something, whereas if they were to be transparent and say what we all know what's happened and why, Russell. It's fine. It smarts a bit, but it's fine. We kind of understand. You bullshit.
But don't patronise it.
Yeah.
Don't patronise it. Again, it's like Sarah was saying earlier. If he just said, look, we know, we're sorry, we get it. We've had to make compromises. It's a new world now. We realise it isn't perfect for you. We're sorry for you. We're sorry if it messes you up. We hope it doesn't mess it up too badly for you. And we're doing everything we can to minimise that. But to literally sit there wagging his finger for 3 paragraphs, telling you how you will run your life, it's just... The arrogance of the man is incredible. It's unbelievable.
They've reinstalled the diamond logo there, put it at the heart of the show, realigned the brand to chime with the show that you may remember from when you were a kid. They've also realised the potential there of having so much of it up on iPlayer and pulling it together. And, the global ambitions to bring in Disney Plus in the way that they have, I sort of understand that too. Whatever you think of Disney, it's not that I think it was the wrong thing to do, but this is the wrong way to go about it. And to put the BBC One viewers who've paid for this thing all these years so firmly last. I'm somebody who hasn't even got a TV licence, and I feel this. I think this is wrong.
But as I say, it isn't even as simple as that. It is very much as simple as just being honest and saying, look, this is what's happened. it's changed. We want to bring you Doctor Who. To do that, we've made deals. It's changed the situation. We've simply had to adapt, and we're sorry. We're sorry if it causes you problems with that. But we hope you love the show. We've got lots to show you. We hope you love it, and we hope you're still on board with us. It's a completely different way of handling it than this finger wagging, which is just horrifying.
It's like, to do with spoilers, this is what I sort of said to myself. I was like, okay, I'm going back in time to series 4. I'm rubbish with numbers now. Basically, I was thinking, right, when I was watching that, and I had no idea that the Master was going to be revealed in Utopia. That came out of nowhere. It was a complete surprise.
Was to everybody.
And would that moment have been anywhere as effective as it was if I knew before that episode that turn was going to happen?
And so Charlotte, the way to work that, as Russell has quite helpfully told you, is you just have to not go anywhere near your phone for the whole of Saturday.
Internet.
The whole of the Saturday. For 2 months. For 2 months. Thanks for Russell for letting us know that. We now know what we've got to do. Just not go near the internet. All day Saturday for 2 months.
That's the thing, that now Russell is sacrificing the effect of his own writing. And that's what made me realise when I was thinking back to that moment of, you've got moments like Yana, that was built up, that was into that was absolutely jaw-dropping. Yeah. And that's gone now. I'm sorry, we can't have that now. Because even if you don't look, and that's the point I think Russell isn't getting here, even if you follow his little instructions and you don't look and you do all that, you will get spoiled. You will see a picture, somebody will tell you thinking you already know. It will just, that's the way the modern world works, Russell.
And if you could just apologise, that's all he needs to do is just say, yeah, we get it, we're sorry, we know. It's not perfect, sorry.
Oh, I'll never apologise.
No.
Moving on a little, but staying with the modern world, heroism is something. I think there's a classic heroism, things that we expect from our heroes and heroines, standards in the way that they behave, both on screen and off screen, what they represent, what they teach us in the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves. And just in the last few days, in particular, I've been thinking quite a lot about role models, Matt. And I saw this video, which I feel, this piqued my interest for a number of reasons. Check this out.
Hello, my name is Ncuti Gatwa, and we are behind the scenes of my Attitude cover shoot. How does it feel to be a role model? It feels cool. I don't know whether I really think of myself as a role model. I just kind of live my life, make my mistakes, try to learn from them. And that's what I do. And that's what I think that we should all do. We should all just live freely and learn from when we've stumbled or whatever we can learn from. So if that's the vibe I'm putting out, then yeah.
Yeah, what kind
of
vibe
God,
is
he's such an air, isn't he? Sorry. No, Ncuti, you're not a role model.
What kind of vibe is Ncuti putting out? And at the end of the day, the Doctor is a role model. Ncuti Gatwa was considerably younger than me, but the Doctor, this is my childhood hero here, and Ncuti is the Doctor. I've accepted him as the Doctor. I've been really upbeat and happy and enthusiastic and open for over 2 years to see him take this mantle. But in the last week or so, I'm starting to wonder what he thinks a role model is, what he actually thinks of the part, why he's there, who he thinks he's representing, and is there anything that this guy won't say? You know, a few days ago, he was out there filming Doctor Who again, meeting the public, signing autographs, and for the most part, all smiles. He does seem to be pretty good with people, and does seem to make time for people. But what's got my attention and what I can't shake are more of the quotes that we had last week. If you remember, he gave an interview to Attitude magazine, which is seen as they declare themselves the journal of LGBTQ matters. There was a lavish photo shoot with some strange costuming going on. He looks like he was having a blast. Whatever, we took the piss last week, and if a guy's going to dress up like that, I'm going to take the piss out of it. I reserve the right to do that. I think he's perfectly fine. The interview was a car crash. I think I hate to say this, he seems like a nice fella, but very dim. Sarah, just fair enough. I can't say I'm particularly an Einstein myself, but he was speaking on some subjects where you were thinking, do you really think that? But whatever. I don't know the guy. What's come to light since then, since the article went online, were further remarks in an extended version of the same interview in the print edition of Attitude magazine, and these were put online by the Fox website. And he talks. Here he is. Now, I believe I've come to the conclusion that after 2 years of like I say, keeping the faith and being generous towards this man, a young actor at the prime of his career, the kind of actor this star could make, this show, and this part could make a star of, and he could really take it on to the next level and bring a whole new generation of kids to it. That's how I felt about it. I've come to believe in the last few days, after reading, he's done like 4, if not 5, bad interviews in 4 or 5 days, and I've come to the conclusion he is a preening, grinning gonad, and it's that simple. No better, no worse. I don't think he means any harm, but he's speaking on subjects which are really showing him in a bad light, and they're going to reflect poorly on the show. Simon, Attitude magazine, it's well thought of, isn't it? It's their 30th anniversary. This was their 30th anniversary edition. It's a pretty respected magazine. It's not unexpected or unreasonable that he would speak to them. But have you come across that interview? Have you seen much of it?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, and I'm just horrified by just about everything that he says. I have to be honest. There is. It's really difficult to talk about this stuff, because I just find at the moment I'm finding him so dislikable, and the more he opens his mouth, the more dislikable I'm finding him, the more difficult I am finding to connect with him, and to give him the benefit of the doubt, and to wait to see how he actually handles the role. So far we've only seen him in sort of 1.5 episodes, and so it's really difficult to sort of come to his new series objectively, because of the baggage that he himself has created with all of the interviews. And it still amazes me that the BBC press office, or the Bad Wolf press office, or even Disney, haven't sort of said, I don't know whether we're really cutting the right note with these interviews. Is this actually doing anybody any favors, least of all Ncuti? Because it's just antagonistic. It comes across as smug, as self-centered, as arrogant. It's just proving really difficult to like the bloke at the moment.
What I see quite a lot are people who get exasperated because he never stops talking about these matters, and yeah, it does feel that way. But then again, on the other hand, the media never stop asking him these questions. So to be fair to the man, what should he do? Refuse to answer? Probably.
No, but I think he would have wanted to talk about this anyway, Dan. I don't think he's waiting for those questions to come. If the questions hadn't come, I think that he would have managed to shoehorn them in somehow, the answers. There are topics that he wants to talk about, and topics that RTD seem to want to talk about. So they're all peddling the same line, truth be told.
They are. And this got round to the topic of our favourite subject of diversity. We try not to use the word woke on this show and to keep banging any kind of drum for or against, but remarks like this that were in the print edition of Attitude. This is what he said regarding diversity. We've got to keep pushing for more, lots and lots and lots and lots more diversity, lots more inclusion on our screen, lots and lots and lots of it for all you male gammons out there.
What was I saying a minute ago? It's difficult to like the man, isn't it, really?
I'm sorry, but isn't that's racism?
I was revolted and disgusted by this. The use of the term gammon in any context, particularly this one, Sarah, there's no way of dressing this up. I'm not saying that Ncuti Gatwa is a racist, but this is a racist remark that wouldn't be tolerated if you were talking about any other group of people.
Well, no, but because it's about white people, it's all right. This is the double standard again. This is. He knows what he's saying. He knows he's being deliberately inflammatory. He thinks this is the best way to get publicity for the show. We know that this is just torpedoed the last of the goodwill. I can't understand how they're seeing how other shows have been Star Wars, Star Trek, how Jodie Whittaker's Doctor Who was when Jodie was there reading those cards, getting in the gender comments.
I remember.
It's all been spelled out. How not to market your new show, how not to antagonise the people who are going to watch your show or potentially watch it and buy your products. And I don't know, it's just they're just making the same mistakes. And if this is the only cards you've got to play, Ncuti, if it's just race and sexuality, then you haven't got anything. And I'm not going to say nobody completely. Obviously, there's probably a few, but most people haven't got a problem that you're black and gay. That they have the problem with you are playing the Doctor, black and gay. And the thing is, you're not even playing the Doctor. You're just playing yourself. And I think this is the problem.
I said a few weeks ago, Sarah, I feel that Ncuti Gatwa hasn't become the Doctor. The Doctor has become Ncuti Gatwa. It's the wrong way around.
And I don't think he's right for the role now. I think he has been miscast. I think he's an okay actor. I don't think he's anything special like Matt Smith was. I think he was brilliant as Eric in Sex Education because that was about a young black gay man discovering his sexuality, which is perfect for him. That seems to be like his wheelhouse because he's just basically playing himself, and he was very good in that role. I enjoyed it a lot. He isn't the Doctor, and just banging this drum, it's only going to appeal to a very minute audience, and it is not going to bring on, especially just insulting.
It is insulting.
I mean, Ian, I want to ask you, I would never dream of saying the N-word. No. I can't remember the last time I heard the P word. Why is this G word seen as acceptable by people of this ilk, people who work in the media, commentators, journalists, and elitists? I'm going to start calling this the G word. Maybe then people will start taking it seriously. That this is a real racial slur. Do you see what I'm saying, Ian? What do you think of this?
This is a good reason not to watch Doctor Who. I'm afraid that this is the main reason why I'm not watching this Doctor Who's because the moral aspects of the whole of this series. Again, I will say this, right? They're aiming all this stuff to kids, and if I had children, I will never let them watch something like this. I believe kids should be free of all this crap until they get to a certain age where they can decide which way they want to go for themselves. By trying to, I hate to use this word, by grooming kids, by using television shows, and especially popular television shows, I don't think it's morally right. This is where I stop. This is one of the main reasons why I won't be watching Doctor Who.
Ian, the Doctor, my role model, would never use any kind of slur against any group of people under any circumstances.
Oh, it is totally racist. It is the same as the N word, and you're right. I mean, it simply is the same as the N word. I can see there's a few people in the chat that actually don't know what gammon is, and especially maybe in America it hasn't got over there. It is basically it's the white men that are on this panel this evening. You can only be a gammon if you're a white man, and it basically refers to white men who get so hot under the collar over stuff that they turn pink because they're sort of just so angry about stuff, as we clearly are this evening. We're clearly already, we're clearly gammon. And that's why it's a racial slur, because it can only be used against white men. Simple as that.
Yeah. Why is it only white men? What about white women? Are they allowed to feel differently about this, Charlotte?
We don't exist. It's very convenient. It happened to Jodie. This is one of the reasons I started to talk about Doctor Who, because I kept seeing everybody saying, oh, it's only white blokes that hate her. It's like, no, there's plenty of women who don't like her. There's plenty of women who didn't want a female doctor. And seeing him talk like this, it just shows he has got no care. I'm sorry, Ncuti, you have no care for this role if you are using that language. You look back to every doctor before him.
He can't see it though, Charlotte. He can't see it.
No, that's the problem.
If
you look back, like I said, with all the stuff going on, it's made me sort of reflect honestly a lot recently. Yeah. And I was going back. Can you remember Matt Smith's first interview in Confidential? Yeah. He looked like, and I'm saying this lovingly, he looked like he'd been dragged through edge backwards. His hair was everywhere. He had a ratty old jumper on, and he had like a nice sort of jacket. And he was sat there, and he just had this air of nervousness. I can remember he had this air of sort of, oh, I know it's a big thing, and I really want to prove it. Because I also thought, like, Matt was pretty much an unknown. He'd done some telly work, but it was nothing big sort of ticket stuff. So Doctor Who was his launching pad. And he was coming after Tennant when it was like almost the King's dead. Nobody's going to top Tennant at that point. I can remember what the fandom was like at that point and what the media was like and how it was like this. And when they showed him, it was like, who's this weird looking unknown, looking, like I said, like he's just been dragged off the street. But in that interview, he talked about how he loved Patrick Troughton. He'd watched Troughton and he adored that doctor and all the traits he loved about him. He talked about how he knew this role was so important and how much it meant to the fans and how he was going to treat it. In all of Ncuti's interviews, he's not talking about how he's going to treat this role. He's not talking about his doctor. He's not talking about what he's going to bring, except from a couple of comments I've seen floating about. But then it's not in depth. It's just sort of very like surface level comments. Sorry, Ncuti, look at who's come before you. Look at how they handled
Charlotte. You're talking like he cares. None of them care. Russell T doesn't care. They don't care. They're pushing the sexuality thing right across the board. This again, right? Up to you guys. You want to watch this stuff? Go for it. But for me,
it is horrifically ironic that Ncuti is banging on about racism and then comes out in the next breath with a racist slur against white people. Can he not see the irony in what he's saying? Does he not realize?
Spell irony, Simon.
No, he doesn't come across as the most self-aware person, but also don't forget he's encouraged, because this is what the BBC and Disney and everybody else, this is what they think of us plebs. They're in the little bubble. He's encouraged to say it, so he thinks he's in the right. And again, what Dan was saying earlier, this Joker has no idea what a role model is. Matt did at 27.
I've really had my eyes open to this man in the last few days. And I found it sobering and disappointing and quite upsetting the more I think about it. I was told that he'd used that slur by several people in direct messages. People had reached out to me and told me about it. I refused to believe it until I saw it in print for myself. I would certainly never brought it to the screen if I hadn't seen it with my own two eyes. And still, when I read it, I still couldn't quite believe it. I had to read it 2 or 3 times. The doctor would say that. It's
not the doctor, though.
No, it isn't the doctor. It isn't. And it's interesting because you, Dan, of all of us, you were the one who has sort of supported him and stuck by him and tried to make this work. And we've all kind of, the rest of us have, I think, have all sort of rolled along, just kind of hoping in a way that we're wrong and that you're right. I must be honest, it doesn't fill me with any joy to discover that we're kind of turning out to, it looks like we are right. I'm not happy about that. I'm not proud. I'm not smug, despite probably what Ncuti would say. that I'm clearly a gammon, and so that's I'll live with that. Don't worry, Shooty, I'm okay with it. It's all right.
We've got John Yalden in the live chat who says, personally, I really hope he reflects on these comments in a few years' time when he was doing performances of Shakespeare at schools throughout the UK. Hi, John. Thank you for your support, mate. But you do. I don't think this is going to go very well for him. I know he's very successful. He's been in several films and mini-series lately. He does appear to be a man who's on the cusp of making it really, really big. But the shine has totally come off him for me in the last... I'll never look at him in the same way again, Matt. I can accept that everybody can have a bad day and nobody's perfect, but these interviews, they go through some sort of filtration that should never have been put in. That should never have been put out, even if it feels that way. It should never have been put out there.
I'm at the stage now where I think Ncuti and Russell T Davies are extremely dangerous and should be nowhere near children. As far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't have anything to do with. They should do their adult things, whatever they want to do, but for kids, they should be nowhere near kids whatsoever. And this is really. I didn't even know what a gammon was. I'd never even heard of it before. And so, to hear that, and this is the first time I've actually heard that him actually say that, because
in my view, this is the worst thing he said.
To me, he said so much bullshit over the last couple of weeks. Everything has just gone over on top of each other, and it's gotten lost. And to see this new one, I'm just like, I'm absolutely gobsmacked that he's allowed to say this sort of stuff. And I really wish for the old days of Peter Capaldi and that.
Proper class acts like Peter Capaldi, Matt Smith.
Gentleman.
Yeah.
A proper gentleman.
Yeah. Doctor Who 1963 in the live chat on YouTube asks, I'm half white. Should I be half offended? Shooty, you've lost your mind. Yeah, I've got one of these each for Russell T Davies and Ncuti Gatwa this week, quite frankly. And it's going to take... I will never look at Ncuti Gatwa in the same light again. The publicity machine, though, is moving. Doctor Who, the premiere, has happened tonight as of time of recording for maybe the first 2 episodes of season 1 of all new Doctor Who. So it is coming. We're going to get the 15th Doctor. We're going to get to spend an extended period of time with him and Ruby Sunday, played by Millie Gibson, to find out whether we like them or not. I just think it's going to be a steeper hill for me to climb, knowing that the man who plays my hero, he's my hero, in effect, believes things like that, thinks that's okay to speak that way about such a massive proportion of the viewing audience.
Well, let's be clear, Dan. He thinks you're a gammon. It's as simple as that.
Yeah,
you're a gammon.
It's that simple.
That's what he thinks of you. That is what he's never met you, but that's what he thinks of you. You are a gammon, like me.
I don't know about listening to Ian David Diaz, but I'll certainly listen to her. More work from our friend Cole Grius over there. More fan art for you, Ian.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know who she is, but why can't I meet women like this? Yes, double denim
it's an alternate version of Ian. It's another universe. It's a female version of him.
Charlotte, the 150th Type 40 Live wouldn't have been the same without you. I'm so glad you could make it.
It's been a journey, and I love it, and I adore you guys and the chat. So we'll hopefully next week we can have happier stuff to talk about.
We shall. We should do our level best. But thanks again, Charlotte. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Good night, Charlotte.
Bye.
Yes, the fantastic Charlotte Shields there. Type 40 Live mainstay. Where next, everybody?
Hello.
I know. Yeah, so this is Type 40 Live, show 150 of the live stream Doctor Who magazine show, and it could be you need a break just as much as we do. Another mainstay of our show since about halfway through season 2 has been the Type 40 Live ad break. This is simply a couple of minutes of golden moments from the TV past, featuring golden voices, faces, or both of Doctor Who legends, flogging us everything from car insurance to coffee, from Castrol GTX to condoms. It's even better than it sounds. You check out the latest one, and we'll see you back here in a couple of minutes.
Character building Doctor Who. Build your adventures with all new construction micro-figures. Cybermen, Smilers, Silurians, Weeping Angels, Daleks, and create new adventures with the Doctor and Amy. Visit characterbuilding.eu to download the Series 1 collector poster. 10 figures to collect plus 5 super rare figures. Collectible, constructible, compatible. Doctor Who construction micro-figures from Character Building.
Today, we make the great pizza. But why? A sweat over the hot stove. Pick up the pizza at the menu. Pick the fresh baked pizza. Pick the size you like. Make it as deep as you like. With as many toppings as you like. Never have I tasted such a good pizza. Sorry, Mama.
Pizza Hut, the home of the pizza.
Tell you what, mate, I'm knackered. Knocking off at the end of the day, girls with long blonde hair. Winning a pony down at the dog, then having a good swear. Doing the walks of the land before, a bunker full up with coal. Jelly bills and cockles, a top and scoring a goal. Having a salt in every pool, a Turkish bar, and a pint of courage best. That's what I like. Standing there, having a beer, he knows how to pull a pint the best. Now listen here, it's lovely and clear and stands alone from all the rest. It's creamy and golden, and really a classic. It quenches your thirst, you ain't brassy. It's smooth and smashing, tasty and great, and drawn and handsome. Cheers, mate. It's courage best. That's what I like.
Imperial, famous brands doing famously.
Here we are again, everybody back. Who's back? Is everybody back? This is Type 40 Live 150, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show covering the world's longest running best loved sci-fi and fantasy series, both on and off screen. We're live streaming across Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and for the very first time over to X to everybody. So welcome to the TARDIS, welcome to our console room. Yeah, who's here? Who have I got with me here? Are they back? Are they refreshed? Are they watered? Here they are. So I've got Simon Horton. I've got starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham. Matt Potts still here too, the only real-life time traveller among us, and the mega geek, even Ian David Diaz too. Getting a few Jaffa cakes.
Yeah, he's eating as usual.
It wouldn't be the same without Ian stuffing his face, would it? Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Huge number of people watching tonight. Thank you so much. Darren Bradley says, when announced, Matt Smith looked like he'd been just been given the Holy Grail. He did, didn't he? He did. Holden 190 says, Dan, you've been so supportive of Ncuti and the show. Well, I've tried to be generous. The show's been good to me, so I try and be good. I try and be good to the show. Yeah, that's how I receive it. Ncuti is live tomorrow on BBC at 7 p.m. with Millie Gibson, so that will be on the One show.
I'm really glad you let me know that. I've got. It just reminds me, I've got to knit a jersey for my hamster at 7 p.m. actually tomorrow. Sadly, what a shame I missed that.
No one for Lenny.
Gaz the Man is going to detox by putting on his season 15 Tom Baker set and cheer himself up. That's the ultimate, white pill. The
true Doctor Who. True Doctor Who.
Speaking for myself, Simon, I feel in need of a cleanse too, something thorough, not necessarily invasive, but more for the soul, really. And Doctor Who's 61-year history, it's packed full, isn't it, of absolute gold, waters that we can bathe in, that will cleanse us. We can feel it soaking all of this dirt mopping away from us, and it can all be found betwixt the pages of one very special leather-bound volume, safe in the care of Simon Horton. It can only be the Doctor Who Diary. Here we are.
Ah, yes, indeed. Here it is. I think we all need a little bit of
that's it. I'm sorry, Shooty, but this is the only leather I'm interested in.
Sorry, here it is. It's the true book. We're opening the clasp.
We got to get your eyes on that picture.
Yeah,
you got to get your eyes with your glasses. We got to get that. We got to get that done.
Yeah, we'll work on it. We'll work on it. It's been a few weeks since we've had a diary, so yeah, they're chomping at the bit for it, Simon. I can tell there'll be people watching out there because we're streaming across more platforms than ever. They may not have ever even seen the diary before.
Wow.
They're not going to know what's hit them, are they, mate?
Wow, how can you not have seen the diary before? For anybody that hasn't seen, hello if you're newcomers. Basically, the diary is when we dip back into the past. We go through 60.5 years now of Doctor Who history, and we look at what was happening this week, in weeks, decades, months, years gone by, in a very timey-wimey sort of way. There's no rhyme or reason to it. We don't cover the things that we necessarily should do. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. We've even had complaints in the past. How could you forget Terry Nation's birthday? We don't cover everything. We sort of collate it. We select.
Nothing's forgotten, is it, Simon?
Nothing's forgotten. Nothing's forgotten. But as I say, yeah, we go back through the decade. So looking back through 60-odd years of Doctor Who, this week, there were 20 new episodes screening this week. We could have talked about any of these this evening. We're not going to talk about any of them. The War Games. The War Games. Sorry, no time for the War Games. Planet of the Daleks.
Simon, it's your catchphrase, but we're not going to talk about that.
Planet of the Daleks. I'd love to talk about Planet of the Daleks. We have to do that at some point. Episode 4 was screening this week in 1973. Maybe we'll do it when we get to episode 6 in 2 weeks' time. Maybe we'll do Planet of the Daleks. Revenge of the Cybermen. Tooth and Claw in 2006. One of the best episodes, I think, of New Who. No time to talk about any of those either. What we are going to talk about this week, I'm actually going to, first of all, we're only going back 11 years to begin with. We're going back 11 years to begin with. Because you've talked about Matt Smith quite a little bit this evening, and so we're talking about New Who, and so it seemed a good moment to be talking about a particular episode from 11 years ago, 2013. Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS was screening today. Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS screens today. 11 years ago, back in 2013. And this just seems, as I say, nicely appropriate, seeing as we've spoken about Matt. Steve Thompson was the writer behind this. Now, interestingly, Steve Thompson originally planned his episode. His episode he wanted to do. He proposed an adventure that would examine the formative years of one Taron Capell from the Robots of Death, believe it or not. We got Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, but what he really wanted to do, apparently, was an adventure looking at the formative years of Taron Capell. I mean, what a fascinating idea.
Well, Simon, I complain about prequels all the time, but I actually would have really gone for that. I think that would have worked.
Funky, it's quite out there, isn't it, Sarah? It is quite out there, quite a bizarre thing. Anyway, we didn't get that. We got Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS. The reason we got that is because Stephen Moffat apparently was very disappointed, as indeed was Steve Thompson, the writer, by the Invasion of Time, by what we see of the TARDIS in the Invasion of Time. They felt that we'd been hoodwinked with what we saw of the TARDIS in the Invasion of Time, because of course, for anybody that doesn't know, it's a bit of a mixed blessing. We see more of the TARDIS interior in the Invasion of Time than in pretty much any other story, and it's disappointing to say the least. It doesn't work very well, and so that's what Peter Moffat pitched to Steve Thompson was. No, forget Taron Capell. Let's have a story about redressing the wrongs of the Invasion of Time, and want you to explore the interior of the TARDIS, and that's what we get. And of course, the title itself is a riff on Journey to the Centre of the Earth, that film that is screening all the time on the
Holiday Monday film, isn't it? That?
Correct. I think I want to say Peter Cushing's in it, but he's not. He's in Journey at the Earth's Core, isn't he? Yeah. It's not. It's James Mason. Right. It's James Mason in Journey to the Centre of the Earth, I think. And as I say, this is the most expansive view that we've seen of the TARDIS since the Invasion of Time, really, truth be told. Very small cast in this, only 3 main three main parts, really, in Journey to the Centre of the Earth. It's the first, and I think it's the only time that we have TARDIS in a story title. And it's also this is one for the absolute uber geeks. It's the first time that the TARDIS doors are closed from the console in New Doctor Who. Previously, of course, in Classic, they were always closing the doors from the console. But if you think about it, in Modern Who, they always just physically close them with their hand.
Close them, yeah. I hadn't even thought of that. It's been back for 19 years. I've never once thought about it, Sarah.
There you go.
No,
Yeah. So there we go. So and this episode was screened. Another nice little factoid. There's Jenna Coleman at the top of your screen there. This episode was screened on Jenna Coleman's 27th birthday, because we're also actually celebrating Jenna Coleman's birthday this week as well. She will be 38 this week, bless her. But yeah, this episode was screened on her birthday, so that's a good birthday present, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we got a Labyrinth vibe going on there, haven't we? We've definitely got.
I love that. I love that.
Castrovalva, Escher, Labyrinth.
Song in my head.
Yeah.
This is one of those episodes which I loved at the time, watched it several times in the few months after it was shown, and then I probably haven't watched it for 8 or 9 years, and I think, I've got to watch it again. But Doctor Who was so much fun. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, what is, but I really enjoyed this. And I'm going to have to go back to it. I say that every time we look at one of these, though.
I didn't like it.
Really?
I didn't hate it. I liked the concept. I didn't think the three actors added much to it, and I thought the idea of him, because one of them they make one believe that he's an android, and it just seemed a bit ridiculously convoluted for no reason.
Story.
I just don't think that were the character stuff with the Doctor and Chloe, because this was the episode where he finally trusts her, isn't it?
Yes.
And all this time he's been wondering, who is she? Are you an imposter? What are you? And he gets really mad at her, and she gets really upset, and he finally realised that she is just Clara. She's just a human. But yeah, the character stuff was brilliant. The TARDIS sets inside was good. The monsters were a bit weird. I can't remember why there were monsters roaming the TARDIS.
Yeah. It never quite worked for me, I have to be honest. I agree with you, Sarah. It was a brilliant idea, and just the title alone, immediately you want to watch it, don't you? It interests me, the title, but somehow...
Evocative.
Yeah. I admit it's been a few years since I've watched it, so maybe we are due a rewatch and see, if I do enjoy it.
This is the episode where he hugs her, doesn't he? When he realised that she's not this thing to come and destroy him. She's just an ordinary person, and that's a really good scene, very emotional. But the thing is, though, I agree with you. I didn't like this episode, but you know what? Right, Matt Smith, man. That guy's the Doctor, right?
He's good.
He's so watchable as the Doctor, and that's why I like this episode. Not because of what was written or what was on screen. It was because of Matt Smith. Matt Smith is the Doctor. Period.
You're never in any doubt, are you, Ian, that he is the Doctor?
Never.
No.
Yeah.
Very commanding.
Classy.
Very eccentric. Very heroic as well. It's perfectly balanced by this point. He was completely in sync with the role.
He's just the embodiment of everything that you expect from the Doctor. There's no different versions or anything. He's just you could see a bit of Pertwee in him. You could see a bit of Baker in him. It was he was an amalgamation of all the Doctors, but he had his own as well. And
I always say this, right? The 11th Hour, in my opinion, is the best Doctor Who pilot ever made, in my opinion. I love Matt. The first time I saw Matt Smith, I was in two minds of him. First time I saw him, I thought, immediately when he stuck his head out of the TARDIS, when it landed, and he was talking about swimming pool, I thought, this is the Doctor, end of story. Didn't have anything to worry about from that point on. So, God bless Matt Smith.
He's an interesting actor. He's never dull to watch, that's for sure.
No.
I always loved his speeches. I thought he was brilliant at doing speeches.
Yeah. So it's a good episode, as I say, in that respect. It didn't quite hit the mark for me, as I say. It was a really nice idea. didn't quite come off in the realization, but yeah.
The problem is when you give something a title like that, you really have got to deliver, haven't you? Because we all think about what the TARDIS, what it would be like, what it would feel like, and what we would see if we did travel any further than sort of 15 foot away from the console room, let alone the center of it. So it's sort of there for the grace of God. It's one of those things. It's once you've done it, you can't do it. You can't do it again. Really, it's sort of it takes away some of the mystery, I suppose.
Yeah. Do you know what, though, guys? Right, it's glorious to be talking about whether you like this episode or not, rather than the stuff that's happening today with Doctor Who. It really is. It really is. Yeah.
Well, you should see the stuff we didn't have time for earlier.
Oh, right.
There was even more.
No, there wasn't.
No,
Matthew Pounder says here in the live chat on YouTube, Simon, even the middling episodes were better than we get today.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
We get lots of comments, and they're not all positive comments. Several people agree with you, Simon, and we've got Tony Farrell, Big T. He's in the live chat, and he's very he's very condemning of their choices as regards how they made the TARDIS look. It's a TARDIS that doesn't look like the TARDIS.
Yes.
But everybody's got an opinion about it. This is the kind of stuff that fandom jumps all over.
But this is glorious, though, is it not?
It is glorious. Yeah.
It is glorious, right?
It's a true Doctor Who episode in every sense. Well, you either like it or you don't, but it is Doctor Who quintessentially. At its heart, it's Doctor Who. No choice.
11
and nobody calls you. Nobody calls you names if you don't like an aspect about it. It's just...
it is.
Nobody's ever
incredible.
called me a racist because I might have criticised something Matt Smith said or done. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
I'm definitely a gammon because I didn't really like this episode very much. But there we go. I'll live with it. We're now moving on from outside of the TARDIS, but into an equally kind of weird world episode. Actually, we're now going to move back 58 years. We're set in the console for 58 years ago, nearly right back at the beginning of the original run of the series. We're going right back to 1966, episode 4 of the Celestial Toymaker, otherwise known as The Final Test. And this, of course, is a really interesting episode because of the animation that is due out imminently and the controversy that's been around that. It's interesting because as you will now discover, the Celestial Toymaker itself is a really, really controversial story and has been right back since 1966.
Why?
It was a very, very troubled production for a start off. It was written by Brian Hales. It was the first story that Brian Hales wrote. He went on to write another 5 stories, and let's not forget he invented the Ice Warriors. Did Brian Hales? So Brian Hales is something of a Doctor Who legend. This was his very first Doctor Who story. And it was rewritten to a large extent by Donald Tosh, who was the script editor at the time, because he didn't feel it worked. So Donald Tosh did loads of rewrites. However, it got more complicated because John Wiles, who was the producer, was allegedly fired towards the end of this particular season. And so as a result, he massively overspent on the arc, which was the previous story in the season, as an act of sort of spite against his superiors. So as a result, they ran out of money to make the Celestial Toymaker. So the incoming team of Innes Lloyd, who was the producer, and Jerry Davies, who was the new story editor, they got virtually no money left to make this story with. So as a result, Jerry Davies had to do another massive rewrite. This was the 3rd version of the story by now, cutting the story right down to try and accommodate filming with on as low a budget as possible. And so by the time it actually reached the screen, it bore very, very little resemblance to Hale's original story. But the problems didn't end there, because the BBC ran into huge copyright problems with the Celestial Toymaker. the Celestial Toymaker character itself actually originates from a play called George and Margaret that was written by Gerald Savoury, who was actually the head of serials at the BBC at the time that the Celestial Toymaker was made. So he had a bit of a moan and said, hold on, you haven't got permission to use my character from my play. And he was one of the ones that also demanded rewrites on the play, so that on the piece. So that was another reason why there were lots of fingers in the pie and it started to get rewritten. Then the final ignominy really was that Cyril, the character, the naughty schoolboy in the Celestial Toymaker, Cyril got complaints from the copyright owners that they were just ripping off Billy Bunter, and so they got into terrible trouble because of that. And in fact, for the first and last time ever in Doctor Who, they had to make a continuity announcement, which they did at the end of episode 4, where they addressed this and they said, you know, it was a disclaimer to say, look, Cyril is not Billy Bunter, was never meant to be, and he just happens to look a little bit like Billy Bunter, but he's not really Billy Bunter. And that was the way they tried to mitigate the copyright claim against them.
Wow.
God, I've got to say though, Cyril is the most irritating character I think I've ever met. No, I really just want to smash his face in. I really
Well, yeah, good old Cyril, and of course, let's not forget this was the episode. Well, this was the story, but episode 4, which, as I was saying, was screening today 58 years ago. This was the episode in which originally they planned to possibly replace William Hartnell as the Doctor. The idea had been with the Trilogic game, where the Doctor is rendered invisible through the first 3 episodes. When he came back in episode 4, it was going to be very easy just to basically put a new actor there and say, oh, it's all part of the Trilogic game that he's changed appearance. And obviously it was ruled out, but that was very seriously considered for quite a long time. And you wonder now, thinking about it, if they'd done that, would we still be watching Doctor Who? Because, of course, it would have ruined the idea of regeneration that they came up with a few stories later. When they did replace William Hartnell, if he'd been replaced in the Trilogic game, we wouldn't actually have, theoretically, regeneration. We might not. It's one of those sliding doors moments, a turn left moment.
It might not have worked.
Might have derailed it. Might have derailed it completely. This particular episode 4, as I say, which was screening 58 years ago, is the only episode of the Celestial Toymaker that exists. It was actually an episode that originated in Singapore. It was sent out to Singapore, and it was found in Australia, Matt. It was found in Australia. It was in your basement, wasn't it? You got
quiet.
Yeah, it was found in Australia.
I do not own the other 3 episodes, so do not ask me if I get abuse from this. I'll tell you what.
But it's interesting because, of course, we're still talking about the Celestial Toymaker to this day because of the controversy still goes on. There was all the controversy that Russell T Davies brought up last year with regards to Celestial being a Chinese slur. Apparently, he's quite happy for his leading man to criticise male white people by calling them gammons, but he wasn't at all happy with having somebody wearing Chinese gowns and with the title Celestial, because that was obviously a slur to many. So make of that what you will. And of course, it's also still hugely controversial because of the animation that is on the way soon and is sort of largely almost universally derided.
Yeah, it's not getting any easier to look at this. They are still. Even though they had a screening of this some time ago now, they're still working on this ahead of their release, which I understand it's still not listed, nailed down for an absolute release. They're still fiddling with it. So,
yeah.
I don't know how you can have a premiere for something.
It won't look much different from this, I can tell you that.
It's just rather strange to discover that the Celestial Toymaker has literally been a difficult, controversial production, literally for 58 years now. The fun fact of the day, the little Trilogic game that's just down there in the bottom right of screen there, and for anybody that hasn't seen the Celestial Toymaker, this is the whole crux of it, is this Trilogic game that the Doctor has to play to save his life and the lives of his companions.
It's not a real game, is it?
Say again, sorry?
It's not based on a real game, is it?
No, it isn't based on a real game, but you can actually play it. I mean, it does make sense. It has its foundations in reality. You could play the Trilogic game. Peter Purvis, following the completion of the Celestial Toymaker, apparently Peter Purvis actually took the Trilogic game home. He was given it as a present, and he took the Trilogic game home at the end of the production. And he was particularly pleased. Peter Purvis was particularly pleased with Stephen's role in the Celestial Toymaker because he felt he rounded it out. So he was very proud of this Trilogic game that he got to take home. Unfortunately, when Peter Purvis left Doctor Who, he endured a year and a half without any work at all, and he blamed it on the Trilogic game. He blamed it on this Trilogic game. He really believed ultimately that it was bad karma. Maybe I don't know. I'm speculating here. So Peter Purvis, please correct me. I don't know whether it sort of fell into his bag on the way home or whether he was given it or whatever. I don't know. Please.
Quite large.
Please correct me on this one, Peter. I'm not speculating. But whatever happened, he definitely saw it as voodoo, as it's bad luck, and it was doing him no good at all. And he finally, get this, he threw the proper way. Oh, can you imagine? It got thrown away. God. He threw it away, and ironically, as soon as he was thrown away, he was actually rewarded with a role in Z-Cars the following day.
Wow.
And then not long after that, he got to be presenter on Blue Peter. So maybe there was something in it. Maybe he was right. Maybe it was a bad omen. Maybe that Trilogic game was bad. And maybe that's why the whole production is still cursed to this day. It was cursed back in time. It's cursed today with the animation still going through changes. Maybe the Celestial Toymaker is just one of those stories that should be left alone.
I want a horror movie now. Trilogic terror.
You can just see, can't you, with the pieces moving by themselves as they do in the episode.
I do wonder if Star Trek fans have, or fans of Star Wars or anything else, have these little corners of the mythology and these almost like urban legends as well. It's fascinating. Simon.
It is a bit of an urban legend. It is a bit of a sort of, it's almost a Candyman story. This one is. It just is. It's got all the trappings of it. It's a cursed story. I do believe the Celestial Toymaker is a cursed story. Anyway, 58 years ago. 58 years ago. Has anybody actually seen the Celestial Toymaker? It's a tough watch on the with the telesnaps, and that's a tough watch.
It's a bit balmy, isn't it?
Yeah, I've watched 4 and you're right. Cyril is a right pain in the bum.
He is. But I enjoy it because it was so unlike anything else. And I do like it when 60s Who goes that extra mile.
It's very psychedelic almost. It is psychedelic 60s. It's very off the wall.
It loses me because of the repetitiveness of it, but I do appreciate what they were trying to do. I think that I understand why people who would have seen it when they were children, particularly when things actually move, I understand why people who would have seen it when they were children would feel the way they do about it. You know, given how the mind robber makes me feel.
Yeah,
I'd have lost that hopscotch game because I would have lost my shit and pushed Cyril off.
See, it was probably my first introduction to Dodo, so I hadn't seen her in any of the others. So that was
Richard Brooks.
I don't think they'd been released at the time.
Episode format was on the VHS, the Hartnell years.
Yeah.
Did you get?
Did
you get those in Australia?
No, I got the Lost in Time DVD box set, the one with all the spared episodes that they had left over. If you remember, they released that as a thing. So I think it came with the master plan as well. Like something.
It's funny, you know, Matt.
It was all just the erroneous episodes.
It's funny because back in the day, in the early 80s, before episode 4 came back to the archive, as I say, episode 4 was found in your backyard, Matt.
Yeah. ABC had a lot of stuff that they kept
in the early 80s. And at the time, I don't know whether anybody else remembers this, but at the time, the Celestial Toymaker was absolutely revered as one of the best Doctor Who stories of all time, bar none. Do you remember this, Dan?
Where did this come from? Is this like received wisdom again?
Well, it was received wisdom at the time, Sarah, because the only people that could actually comment on it were the people who'd seen it at the time, and so they were sort of telling people like me, the young Turks, that it was the best Doctor Who story. Then you'll never get to see it. What a shame! And then of course episode 4 came back, and we were all like. Right. It's
Really?
not that good, is it? It's not actually that good. Did you say you've never got through it, Ian?
No, I never got through it. I just thought it was. I just thought it was bad telly.
I find it a tough one.
It's a bit controversial too, isn't it? Because of one of the words that they use in it.
Yes. Oh, come, my giddy aunt, Matt. Thank you for reminding me of this, because we've talked about this evening. This is the second time the N-word gets mentioned. Because, you're quite right. In this episode, the N-word is mentioned. And in fact, it's not in this episode. I think it's in episode 3.
Yeah.
But the N-word is mentioned. And I actually think, if I recall correctly, it's not even in the script. I think it was something of an ad-lib on the part of the actor at the time.
Which actor?
Can't remember. I'd have to go back and look it up. But it's the N-word is used. And it's in fact it was when the BBC released it on audio on CD with narration. It is in there. They released it with the N-word in, but they've got Peter Purves narration over the top of it, so it's sort of disguised. Obviously, without any doubt at all, it will be amended clearly in the. I don't know what they'll do in the animation where they just. Cut the
I've
line
heard apparently they just go quiet. It just goes quiet completely.
Yeah, and I
use the N-word, don't they?
Say again, sorry.
Some songs use the N-word, like Elvis Costello's song. They used the N-word in one of the songs. That was in the 80s. Do you know what I mean? So
but do they still play? I bet they don't still play.
I don't think they play it anymore.
It's desensitized now, isn't it? It's like a lot of words now. They've been used so much that would be derogatory.
I have certainly heard. I am in no doubt. I've certainly heard it in sort of black rapping music. And unfortunately, it's one of those words. It is one of those words that certain groups can use.
Oliver's Army. That's the song.
Oliver's Army. Is it really in there? Mike,
it's in there. Yeah, it's in there.
Well, anyway, there we are. The second, there we go. That's the quote there. So, for the second time tonight, we reluctantly mentioned the N-word.
Yeah.
So there we go.
You don't get this on Radio Free Sky, do you?
Certainly don't. So move on. So this was episode 4, 58 years ago today. Now, very finally this evening. Oh, this is a bit sad. It's bittersweet, but we're not going to get upset about it. Back in 2011, tonight on CBBC, which was obviously on BBC One back in those days, a program called My Sarah Jane was screened.
I remember this. Yeah,
I'm going to get all gooey already. Gosh.
Yes. Yeah.
2011 tonight. My Sarah Jane was shown as a tribute to Liz Sladen, who sadly had died 6 days ago. In 2011, she died on the 19th of April.
It's kind of weird. It's one of those. Where were you when you heard the news?
I'll tell you where I was. I was literally just about to go off on holiday. I was literally in the car going on holiday when I heard it, and to say that it affected my holiday is an understatement. Does anybody else remember where they were?
I was at the hospital having my ultrasound for Zach because I was
no way. Wow.
And so I was already emotional.
Oh, blimey.
For good reasons.
I
heard it on the radio on the way home and burst into tears.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it personally when I heard it because she just came off the Doctor Who thing with Tennant, and then she
was flying, wasn't she?
Yeah, and then suddenly, they said she died. I'm like, well,
no expectation at all. And as I say, 2011, it was. And as I say, today they screened My Sarah Jane, which was a news round special. And anybody that hasn't seen it or hasn't seen it recently, you should rewatch it. I rewatched it earlier today. It is on YouTube. You can find it. If you put My Sarah Jane, Elisabeth Sladen tribute in on YouTube, it does come up. It's only 12 minutes long.
And it's a brilliant one that they did on on the Blu-ray box set too.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's beautiful, that one. But this one, as I say, it's what I love about this particular episode that they did from Newsround is it's remarkably sensitive. It's remarkably adult. There's no narration on it. They don't talk about it. They don't talk about what has happened to her at all in the way of sort of introducing it. It just starts, and and the first person you see is Matt Smith talking about her. And it's just beautifully done in that they treat, although it's clearly for a children's channel, it's a children's television program, they treat it as reverently as if it was on the news at 10. And it's handled just as adultly. They don't talk down to the kids whatsoever.
That was the thing, wasn't it? When the BBC were the BBC, they always treated kids like, you know, they don't talk down to them.
No.
With shows like that on, especially Newsround and stuff like that. So also, Elisabeth was so beautiful, right? I remember that scene in it where she meets David Tennant. She goes, "I got old," and I was thinking, like, where did you get old? What part of you old? You know what I mean? I'm like, what are you talking about? So she's a very beautiful woman. Very
Look at her smile there. It just, you know. She lit up the room.
Lights up. Yeah. She just lights up the screen. I was lucky enough to meet her only once. Stephen Braddock, and she met her twice. I met her once, and she was wearing pop socks, a negligee, and a hairnet. Because it was backstage at a pantomime, and she was between performances, and she literally came out in not much, to be perfectly honest, to say pop socks and a negligee cut down to there, and a hairnet, and she what?
That would have probably worked for me. I'd have been.
Well, I just thought, do you know what? If you can come out and speak to fans like that, you're clearly so comfortable, so relaxed. There wasn't a beat. She didn't make any apology for the fact that she was what she was wearing. She just spoke to us as though she, you know, we were just sitting down having a cup of tea, and it was just a beautiful 5 minutes. I treasure those 5 minutes that I spent.
It's a real shame that she didn't make it beyond the Doctor Who thing. She didn't become like a star in her own right. You know what I mean? Because she was a great actress, and also she was a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, as much as I like Doctor Who, would have been. I think it's a shame that she didn't step out the.
100%. She deserved so much more. So much more. It's great that you show these photos, Dan, because of course there we are. We can see her with Peter Capaldi back when he was a fan. On that right-hand side photo, in her outfit from the Android Invasion that is then on the left-hand side. And it's great because they actually use a clip of the Android Invasion in My Sarah Jane. The first classic clip that we see is from the Android
I remember from the most.
What, the Android Invasion?
Yeah, that's the one. My sister, her and my sister looked very similar, and so I always felt her as family, you know, this is when I'm 4 years old. So, you know, so whenever anything happened to Sarah, I really felt it. But I'm really, really glad that she got that resurgence.
Oh, totally.
In the fact that kids of modern era got to actually experience what we had, the love
and fell in love with her.
You know, exactly.
Fell in love with her.
My nephews and nieces were that age. They were young, and they latched onto and they watched the Sarah Jane. I remember because the first one came out, was it New Year's Day?
Yes, correct. It was.
I remember, and it was a big event, and you know, and she had her own merchandise. You know, my niece, she had the Sonic lipstick, and she was about 5 or 6 years old. Oh, she was absolutely devastated.
But then Tom Baker confessed that he was in love with her. Tom Baker, didn't he confess? I saw one interview where he was saying he was in love with her.
There's the absolute heartbreaking moment in the documentary that Matt, you just mentioned on the Hand of Fear Blu-ray, when Tom just basically breaks down. He can't, it's just a heartbreaking moment that he can't talk about it. It's that much. And as I say, what I just think is so telling about this episode, that this program that Newsround put out, is, as you say, Sarah, it just really resonated with the kids. They loved her. And here we are doing a news round special on her to mark, because she's died. I mean, that's just an unheard of thing for news round to be doing. So it clearly meant so much to the kids. It also interviewed in the program is David Tennant, John Barham, and Katie Manning calls Liz the quintessential Doctor Who girl. She says, she's very, very clear, Katie Manning, in saying she is the quintessential Doctor Who girl, which I think is very generous of Katie, because many could see Katie as the same. They interviewed Tommy Knight as well, and Daniel Anthony and Anjali Mahindra, of course, from Sarah Jane Adventures. And it ends beautifully. This little 12-minuter ends beautifully with an Elvis Costello song. You just mentioned Elvis Costello here, and it ends with she. She may be the heart I get, and I defy anybody to watch it without a tear coming to your eye. So as I say, go and look it up on YouTube.
I'm going to look it up. I am. I've never seen it.
It's well worth watching. It's just a beautiful 12 minutes. And boy, do we all miss her just dreadfully. Really.
Well, I didn't like that whole funeral thing that they did, so hopefully this one will be a bit better.
Well, Tennant believed that when she passed away, the actor himself believed that he'd kind of inherited a duty of care and responsibility to speak to her audience, the audience that she'd grown in through the Sarah Jane Adventures. So he's a big part of that show that you're talking about there, Simon. But he also did this. Don't know if you've ever seen this. Check it out.
Interview took place. We've heard about the very sad death of the actress Elisabeth Sladen. She'd starred in Doctor Who, of course, and the spin-off series, the Sarah Jane Adventures.
Well, David Tennant, as we mentioned, is here. Morning, David. I mean, you worked with Liz Sladen, didn't you? So
I did, yeah, several times, and was enchanted by her when I was a kid, of course, as well. That was what was so extraordinary for me, growing up with. She was the Doctor Who girl. She was Sarah Jane. She was it, and then to have the wonderful privilege of then being the Doctor beside her as well, it's just so shocking that she's gone. It doesn't compute, to be honest. It seems impossible.
And because, of course, she was in the Sarah Jane Adventures as well, and she was introduced to a whole new generation of kids who fell in love with her.
I think that's the wonderful. I mean, not that any of this is wonderful that she's gone, but to know that she had that, I suppose, renaissance, and that she is loved by a new generation of kids in the same way that my generation of kids just adored her, and that she so effortlessly did that. I mean, it's not every 60-something that would be able to enchant, 21st century children the way that she did. There was something truly magical about her.
Shame.
Oh, so sad.
So lovely.
I've just spotted that comment from Stephen Braddock in the chat. I don't know whether you can bring that up, Dan. I met the second time at the Who shop on the day school reunion was being shown. We had a long chat, and she was nervous about being in school reunion because she feared no one would remember her.
Oh,
I mean, how wrong was she?
She got to meet two doctors. Well, she got to meet Matt Smith as well, didn't she? Which is a great episode in the Sarah Jane Adventures, isn't it? So it's incredible. She again, right? She's just like Tom Baker, right? When you think of Doctor Who, you think of Tom Baker. When you think of the assistant, you think of Sarah Jane.
Well, they were the greatest double act. I don't care what anyone says. There's no other better couple than those two.
No, I agree, Matt. Totally.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. So it's a bittersweet end, really, to the diary. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to end on a downer, because we all miss her still terribly. But the only way to look at it is we appreciate the time she was in Doctor Who. You can enjoy that.
Simon, look at the comments here in the live chat, and you can see how people are reliving this, and people are touched, and some people are a little upset. People are remembering good stuff too.
Did she ever actually get to finish like Sarah Jane? Did it finish halfway and she never got to complete it?
No, they stopped making it. They knew she kept her illness very, very private and secret, but the production team knew that they were not going to be doing any more, and so they completed what they were working on with her. She did manage to complete all that she was doing for the season. but they were clearly planning to do a lot more with her. And the other absolute tragedy of it was that she was going to be doing some audios with Tom Baker. She was going to do some audio dramas with Tom Baker. Those were all planned. I'm not sure where they were written. They were in a very, very advanced stage. It was all happening. And so that's what we were robbed of, sadly. There we go.
Gary Akers is in the live chat and said, thanks for giving us a chance to remember her, Simon.
Yeah, well, it's about all we can do now. It's all we can do. And she will never be forgotten from Doctor Who. Simple as that.
Doctor Who fans.
Oh, no.
They're the best. They're the best. So as I say, yeah. Sorry to end on a bit of a downer, but as I say, we remember with happy memories. That's what it's all about. Sorry, Holden 190.
Holden 190 was such a shock, says Cheryl. Gallifrey Angel herself, a perfect female hero, totally feminine, says Mark Milford.
Absolutely, Mark.
8-Bits says that's what a role model actually looks like. Rest in peace, Liz.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
very, very true.
Yeah, twat.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Very, very true.
Simon, thank you again for putting the diary together so beautifully.
Well.
As we wipe away the tears, the memories of Elisabeth Sladen, the stuff that she meant to us through the 70s, right the way through to the noughties. I know from reading the stuff that we see when her daughter gives interviews, you get the impression that if she didn't believe it in 2006, that by the time she was laid to rest, she was at peace with it and understood.
Yes.
And was receiving the love that we were all sending her way. That's the impression that I get.
Yeah. I think she knew that. I'm in no doubt at all. She knew by the end of it how much she was loved and how appreciated she was.
As always, keep the comments coming afterwards. We've got a comment section as well as the live chat. So if you need a few minutes to compose yourself before you put something together, we quite understand that's what the comment section is there for here at Type 40 Live. But thank you again, Simon, for another fabulous diary. Yes, you're watching Type 40 Live, number 150, a live stream Doctor Who magazine show. We're here every Thursday from 8 p.m. UK time.
This is Philip Roy playing the Doctor.
And I'm Mandy Rose and I play Jenny.
For the Doctor Who fan film, Doctor Who Meets the Scorpion, this is the Type 40 podcast.
And we've got one more thing for you. As always, we're rounding things off with a last look at the view screen. This is our regular eye up your temporal schism in search of the prettiest pictures from out there in the Whoniverse. So we're talking about fan art, everybody, whether it's traditional art or digital art, whether it's craft or cosplay. We're all over it. We want to get it up on the view screen and we want to find out who the creators are, whether it's you or someone that you know. Send them our way. We can get their work up on our screen via their DeviantArt page, their website maybe. Perhaps they've got an Instagram account or an X account loaded up with the most gorgeous artwork that more people simply need to see. Maybe they've got an Etsy shop they can order this stuff from. We'll do our bit to get it out there so that more people can enjoy it and maybe order it or whatever. And you can do that. Just let us know where to find them in the comments section. More about that a little later. First of all, and in keeping with with the theme of identity, I think there's this one comes. There's a few gasps. People are wondering where we're going to go. People are wondering where we're going to go with this. Are you sure, Dan? You want to go back there here at Type 40 Live? Well, I think you're going to be quite keen, Simon. I think you're going to like this. This is courtesy of Heleno Souza and NDW Designs. We're going all the way back to the Pertwee era, and it's not traditional art at all. This is something you can hold within your hands, an action figure that character are yet to put out, but I think it's only a matter of time once they see this.
Now I want it. I want it.
So this is a third Doctor. This is a bespoke action figure of the third Doctor. Which story is this from, Simon Horton?
This, of course, is the Green Death episode. I think it's about episode 3 or maybe it's 4, when, yes, for a brief time, the Doctor does indeed dress up. There we go. That's Star Lady. And I have to say, he is quite brilliant at it. It was John Pertwee's idea to do this, and he does it brilliantly.
It was a comedic moment, wasn't it, from John?
So,
at that moment in time, he was known as a comedian. He was very much a comedian. Was before.
Absolutely. He was known as a comedian, and this is one of the very, very, very few comedic moments that he actually does in Doctor Who.
You don't even see washerwomen like that nowadays.
No, you don't.
How large is that bucket?
It is a big one.
Come on, character options. This is what we want.
Yeah, we don't want another shooty character figure. Thank you very much. We'll take this one.
Yeah, this is. I like the rubber gloves as well. What a fabulous touch!
Did they use a Jodie figure for the actual?
Who can say?
It's a Nora Batty figure with John Pertwee's head.
I love the fact they've even got the pantyhose on the legs. See that the pantyhose are on the legs.
Gary Akers says simply, take my money.
Yes, Gary,
loves it. Frank. Sorry, Frank, I can never pronounce. I'll just say Frank. Frank, it's good to have you back here. He says, ha! We've got lots of emojis there too from Tony L. Yeah, people love this character. Al, it's Al at character, isn't it? Take a look at this. Look at the great reception to this fabulous limited edition one-off figure. This needs to get the green light. I think you can have it up on your website as an exclusive. Just imagine the coin you would make if you sold.
I want to see Tim Trelaw do this. That should be his next.
You're quite right. That would be fun.
Well, they could do a set of these. They could have him. They could have him as the milkman as well, Ian, with the moustache and the glasses.
It could be a trilogy.
Jones the milk. John's the milk.
Identities.
Brilliant.
It's still sell more than the Yas figures, I would imagine.
I think it's still a lot more.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shooty, he was the first one to wear a dress.
Tough luck, Gatwa.
Brilliant.
Breaking as much new ground as you think, buddy.
Brilliant. Daryl Joyce says it's a giant maggot bucket.
Is it? Daryl Joyce says. Daryl Joyce.
Hello, Daryl.
Artist of great note, both digital and traditional. He can turn his hand to pretty much anything. I know this because, well, I know Daryl a little bit, and I've been following his work for a number of years. And so have you, if you've been watching Type 40 live for any length of time. And another of Daryl's pieces is coming up right now. I'd never seen this one before, Simon. As soon as I did, I thought, well, first of all, I thought it was fantastic. And secondly, I thought of you because it's, again, connected to one of your favourite stories. We're going back there again to season 18.
Oh, look at that Warrior's Gate. Isn't that beautiful? That's absolutely magnificent. I love that because that's basically it's the end of Warrior's Gate when the TARDIS is going and leaving poor Romana in E-space.
This is possibly my favourite of all of my favourite pieces of Daryl's. I probably say that all the time, but I thought this was absolutely beautiful. And the fact that you can't see Romana's face, but you don't need to.
No.
Well, you know it's her, though. You know it's her.
You know it's her, and what I love what he's done with this is the fact that obviously in Warrior's Gate that is in black and white, and Romana is in colour. Yeah. So I love the fact that he's done this in very muted colours. So it's monochromatic without actually being black and white, whereas Romana is in very vivid colours in the foreground. It's fantastic. Just love that.
It's going down very well in the live chat as well, Daryl. I hope you're seeing the comments. It really is absolutely
well.
Yes.
And you know exactly what Romana's thinking as well.
Yeah.
You can't see her face.
Yeah, you're right, Sarah. It's quite poignant, actually, isn't it?
He's going, damn.
She's
stayed on the TARDIS.
it's a lot more poignant than it is in the actual in the TV show. It is more poignant.
It's the sense of perspective, just as Matthew Pounder says in the live chat. It adds that extra dimension, and it adds to the moment itself as well, because you can feel what Romana's feeling here to some extent.
You can.
It really is beautifully judged. Beautiful, says the time scales. Wowee, says Holden 190. We've got some pink-faced emojis there from Blue Planet. I think that's a good thing, Daryl. I'm pretty sure it's a good thing. Good job, Daryl. And Gary says it makes you want to put the Blu-ray in. Right there.
Gary, I always want to put the Blu-ray of Warriors Gate on.
Cam says beautiful and a little sad.
Yeah.
And Jack Thursby says simply a great piece of art. Daryl himself chimes in with, couldn't get K9 in there this time.
No, you could have had him flying. Come on, Daryl.
He's down under a legs.
Just had the top for his ears, but
really lovely stuff. And we will be speaking to Daryl sooner rather than later. Daryl, we're coming for you, mate. We're coming for you. A bit more up to date now. Something rather than from 1981. This one was from 2023. Even 2023, and the episode Wild Blue Yonder, which I absolutely loved. I know it's everything they did last year was divisive, but I loved it. I think Kelly E. Rosen probably loves it as much as I did, because she's created this fabulous picture of the 14th Doctor. I thought I really like the scratchy sort of Disneyness of this. When I talk about Disney, I don't mean modern Disney. You know, the kind of
what
Disney
you mean,
yeah. Proper Disney.
You mean classic Disney, yeah.
mean Beauty and the Beast.
Hand-drawn Disney full-length animations, and that's what this sort of reminds me of a little. And I like the fact, Matt, that what Kelly's done here is to just add a little bit of judder to it, so we can see. If you look at the Doctor's hair, it's got that kind of 3D-ness, as if he's being shaken or he's moving ever so slightly, because obviously because in the story, the conceit of it obviously is that they're right on the brink, aren't they, of known space, and even the Doctor doesn't know or can guarantee what's out there as they're looking through the glass out into deep space from that spaceship. So I do love that, and the fact that the other Doctor is looking back at him with that kind of evil Chucky-like look upon his face. I just think it's fantastic.
It's a really good way of doing that scene, and you've got that, you've got the quizzical look from our Doctor, and then that evil look, like you say, of the, what were they called? Not me. What they got a name?
I just can't remember.
Not we. I think they were called. Somebody will know in the chat.
I'm just glad she didn't go for the big arms.
Yeah,
and that would have been very cartoony.
Yeah,
Where's
no things, says Flo.
No
things. No things.
Where's
No one likes a robot, Ian.
I like the robot. I like the robot. Yeah, I love the
Jack
robot.
Thursby says Wild Blue Yonder sucks. What? Nice drawing. Nice drawing.
Yeah, I'm afraid I do agree with Jack.
I'm with Simon.
I mean, for me, as soon as Isaac Newton gets out of the way, it's like, wow! I just adored the thing. And so to see nice fan art about an episode that's only a few months old, I jumped all over this. Stephen Braddock says, "Imagine if this scene was in the episode."
Yeah.
But again, it's a similar conceit to a lot of fan art, though. And Daryl's, the piece we just looked at from Daryl, it's the idea that what may have happened, what was going on in when the moments that we didn't see, or the same scene from a different perspective.
It's beyond the edge of the frame, isn't it? Basically, it's just outside the frame.
Yeah. This picture had the missus glued to the screen. She approves. Says Heretic.
Good.
It's good to see you, Heretic. I'm glad you could make it to the 150th show, mate. Happy to have you back. So I really like that. And I'll be keeping a look on Kelly's account, Ian, for more of whatever she's doing.
This frame's much better than the whole episode, so keep it up, Kelly.
That's probably the most boring.
But like what we say, fans always do a much better job.
They do. They do.
Yeah, this make a great promotional piece if it was an actual photo. You
know what? Somebody should collect all this art and have some kind of museum and put it in there. All the ones that we've had on Type 40, They should just put them in museums so people can look. Because we've come across some really terrific
Yeah,
art. haven't we,
yeah,
on
Simon,
Type
turn
40?
your house into a museum.
Yeah, no,
On the
they need to
walls.
hire us. They do.
Like Vision On, you know,
You've
Vision On.
already got the
Vision
stain.
on.
You've already got the stained glass windows. Just accept it.
Oh, yeah.
Very true.
But we should though. We should. I mean, some of the art is absolutely fantastic.
It is stunning.
Yeah.
Mirror universe, says Cam.
Yeah,
I don't think it's meant to be a mirror universe.
If he did have a moustache or a goatee,
it's another dimension that exists a lot, sort of alongside our own. I don't think it's necessarily a mirror universe. I think there's a lot of scope for that. That I am hoping that Russell will visit. He's promised to go back to that territory. He's certainly seeded it. I think there's a lot of potential there. I really do. But yeah, that's Wild Blue Yonder from Kelly E. Rose, and go and check her out on X. She's got her own account there.
Kelly, do one of the robots. Do one of the robots.
Do the robot. I'm sorry to do this, everybody. I think you've probably only just recovered, but we've got this. So this is from, talk about fans doing some of the best work. One Doctor Who fan we've had on the show. He was a guest on the podcast a couple of years ago now. Fabulous fan artist. He's also an actor. He plays Harry Sullivan for Big Finish over on their audio drama range. But Christopher Naylor is an accomplished traditional artist in his own right. There's a lot of work geared around James Bond in particular and sort of classic cars from the 50s and the 60s. But of course he turns his hand to Doctor Who. And this is his tribute to Elisabeth Sladen. I just love this.
Oh, isn't that gorgeous? From Pyramids of Mars.
Yeah.
Her eyes are so sad.
Oh, she had sad eyes, didn't she? She did have sad eyes.
Just captured it very well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
That's an amazing likeness.
Oh.
Yeah, and I love how it looks unfinished.
Yeah, it's the fact that the dress is just sort of only half done.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Is that? Do we know? Is that digital, Dan, or is it?
It's completely hand drawn by.
Oh,
Chris.
really? Oh, I would frame that. I would put that on my wall. You go back to what you were just saying, Sarah. Yeah, I'd put that on my wall. I really would.
He does sell prints. He's got an Etsy shop. And
do you know what? Right, when I was in Canada, this is like over 10 years ago. They have these things called expos, and they had one on Star Trek and fan art of Star Trek. They had this whole section on fan art and Star Trek. They should do something like that for Doctor Who as well. You know,
well, that's what they call conventions here. Expos. They don't call them conventions.
Oh,
here.
right, right, expos, right, yeah. So that's what they should do, because some of the art, again, I would say, is this one's brilliant. Look at that; it's fantastic. You look at it, you know who it is.
Yeah, the likeness
draw. Yeah, fantastic.
Likeness apps, and I just love the fact it's from Pyramids of Mars, which is just such a beautiful story as well. We said earlier on, didn't we, that somebody said that she's beautiful. She really
said it.
I think Sarah is at her best. I think Sarah's at her best in that story. I think we see all the sides to the character in that one. We see them in other stories as well, but never. It all comes
together. Yeah, you just took words out of my mouth. Yeah.
It's just weird too that we could have ended up with a completely different Sarah Jane as well.
Yeah, completely.
You know.
Yeah, she was. Yes, she wasn't cast originally.
She wasn't the first choice.
No, she wasn't.
Well done again, Christopher Naylor. You can go and find his work over on X or at his Etsy shop, and you can hear him playing Harry Sullivan too on the Big Finish audios. It can be a beautiful world, Doctor Who. Such creativity amongst fans, says Peter Harrington.
Absolutely.
The eyes completely draw you in, says Gary Akers. Captures so well, says Matthew Pounder. And the people really do love this. Hauntingly beautiful, says Cam's Crash Course. Couldn't agree more. Bang, up to date. Well, up to date? Yes, today, as in up to date, but only if you're one of the exclusive few who's been to the premiere of two brand new episodes of Doctor Who, and this one lines up with this, another subject close to our hearts, the prestigious line of original Target novels, not the ones they put out now. the proper ones that evolved from the early 70s right the way through to 1990, 1991. A fabulous artwork by the likes of Jeff Cummins and Chris Achilleos and everybody else. And this whole look, layout, logos, and the way that Chris in particular illustrated Doctor Who, it's cast a long, long shadow. And there aren't many, I don't think there are many people, arty people, or certainly not illustrators within the Doctor Who fandom who don't have a crack at Chris Akaleu's style at some point. But Andrew Mark Thompson, he's applied that filter, I suppose, on the Doctor Who universe to the upcoming episode, the season 1 premiere, Space Babies, for this piece.
Yeah, it's great. It's brilliant. It's just I just can't get excited about the story. It just looks so awful.
It looks good apart from that. I mean, oh my God, that baby. We're going back to Terror of the Autons here. Terrifying.
Go back to Terror of the Autons. It looks like my Auntie Anne again. She's back.
She's. I love the colours and the. I appreciate what he's trying to do, but
yeah, we all know Andrew is somewhat of a piss taker. And
yes, he
he does like to pastiche. He's probably more than as aware as we are of how funny this is.
That I mean, you know, that image of Millie, that kind of just sums it up, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's done a whole book of this kind of stuff of taking the Mickey out of stuff.
Well done, Andrew. That is.
Yeah, I think his tongue is firmly in his cheek with
Rams, that's hilarious.
Is that her nan down the bottom? Is it? Is that
I don't know.
We haven't seen it. We haven't seen the story yet, so we don't.
Oh,
know.
I thought it was Cherry. Sorry, I thought it was Cherry.
I know.
I don't know. No idea. No idea.
Cherry
I mean, it's very good as a Chris Akinaios pastiche. It is good. It is good.
We have Russell is a space baby, suggests Jack Thursby. Oh, he's in some bad books, really. Daryl Joyce suggests it's really the Frank Bellamy style.
You are quite right.
The early targets were inspired by the Day of the Daleks Radio Times cover. Yes, you're absolutely right.
You are absolutely correct. And Chris Akinaios did always say that. He always said he was inspired by Bellamy.
So yes, Andrew, keep them coming. Keep having fun. And we'll be all over any fan art that we can. We're going to get to see Space Babies itself in a couple of weeks. That's what's launching season 1 of all new Doctor Who. Your cosmic joyride awaits, Simon.
Oh, good. It still sounds rude. It still sounds rude. And the way they're standing there, it does look like they're propositioning.
Sounds rude. Doctor Who being rude? Never.
So you went into a phone box with a mobile phone? They phoned it was raining. It was pouring the rain, that's why. So I went there to get so you went into a phone box and you had a mobile.
To cry in private.
I was hoping it was a TARDIS. Swat. I know,
crap. Good old Chris.
Yes. If you are a fan artist or you know a fan artist, you think we should get their work up on the view screen here for Type 40 Live, we're just as keen as you are. Send them our way or us their way, whichever, however it works. We want to know where their website is, their DeviantArt page, for example, their Etsy shop, or their Instagram X accounts. Just send any deviants our way. That sounds absolutely. It's been a long night, everybody. It's been a long night, and you can let us know where to find them in the comments section, of course, or you can reach out to us through our social media, Instagram and X at Type 40 Doctor Who. It really is that simple, everyone. Or even simpler, if you want to cut out the middleman and show the world, or show a select few, you can do just that by joining the Type 40 Facebook group. Now, I'm not saying that all of the guys you see on screen at the moment are members of the Type 40 Facebook group, but they might be. And the only way to find out for certain is by joining us over on Facebook. Join our community there. It's a very long-standing community, and who knows who may turn up. What a show.
Now listen, we've got, can we just say before we finish, Dan, it's got to be said, Capitol is coming up on Saturday.
Yes.
I am going to be anybody in the chat that's going to be a Capital.
Simon, for people who don't know, what is Capital?
Capital is the Doctor Who Appreciation Society convention. It's sold out, so you don't even try getting tickets now. It's sold out, but it's happening not a million miles away from me and Dan at the weekend, and I am there on the Saturday. With a bit of luck, there might be other people here in the chat that might be there on the Saturday evening as well. So if anybody of our viewers are at Capital, come and say hello. Quite frankly, come and say hello, or tell us we're wrong. Tell us we're wrong.
You're wrong.
We've got more comments here in the live chat. Hello, Sailor, says Richard Brooks. Hello.
Oh, hello, Richard.
I like 9, says Holden 190.
These messages are getting very cryptic.
Ninth Doctor. I like 9. The Ninth Doctor.
Right. Thanks.
It's knocking on. Your cosmic joyride awaits. I think I'll walk, thanks.
I'm with you, Jack. I'm walking with you.
That's a burn, Jack. That's a burn. You know, I mean, good luck everybody and all that. Good luck everybody.
You like everybody.
Now, boy.
That's all I'll say.
Fab,
you're such a gammon.
Says Pray, gammon and proud. Another fantastic show. Trauma shared is trauma halved, or something like that. Suggests Gary
We'll
Akers.
take that, Gary.
Trouble shared is a trouble doubled. That's what they say.
I'd go, but I'm in Stoke all day drinking, says Heretic.
Oh, well,
Fair
nice.
enough. It's only just down the road, Heretic. You could drop it.
At 150 Type 40 live, Sarah. Who'd have thought it?
Who would have thought it? Yeah, and we're still
The
having
waking
fun.
nightmare continues.
Listen, and Stephen Braddock, first live stream and loved every minute of it. Well done, Stephen. We didn't know that was your first show. You always have enjoyed it.
Please like and subscribe. Come on.
You guys,
gotta like and subscribe.
You guys that are watching, right? If you have not seen the very first episode, it is a doozy. So go back and explore, because
says the man who couldn't even remember being on it.
I remember it when you showed it to me. I remembered it.
You remember it now being a good one.
I remember it now, yeah. So it is a very good episode, isn't it? It's when
you say so yourself. It's a good episode.
It was.
If Ian says it's a good episode, it's a good episode.
Dan can back me up. Dan can back me up.
It was a very strong start. Look, if the pilot hadn't have been as good as it was, there's no way we'd have made another 149 of these, would there?
Absolutely. Yep.
I can't imagine doing any of this without any of you. Sarah, have you got any sort of hopes for the continuing journey? What have you enjoyed the most about it?
Meeting all you guys, obviously. Yeah, it really, it's the company. I mean, we started when Doctor Who was in the dumps. And it's not getting any better.
In the dumps. Is it us? Are we the curse?
We've been through every up and down, haven't we, over the last 3.5 years?
Mostly down.
We always find something to talk about. We always find something
to laugh about.
Talks about really good episodes.
I do find it funny that some people actually think that we just do nothing but moan. But look at us, we just laugh. Truth be told, we just laugh. Really. We do
just laugh. What
Yeah,
else
I've
are you
got
going
to
to do?
But yeah,
Especially
it's
this
just
era,
been the best
you know?
time, and meeting all you lot, meeting our lovely chat. Everybody else who's come on and joined us. We've met some brilliant people.
But it's spawned a friendship as well, because we've actually met in person.
Yeah, we've all met
more than once. So that's the thing.
You're stuck with me now.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we keep on saying one of these days we will do hopefully social where everybody is invited and we just all meet up.
Yeah.
Heretic says this podcast must be good, as the other half didn't tell me to turn it off.
Oh, we are not worthy.
Yeah,
for better than that.
That should be our strap line, Dan. That should be our advertising line.
Matt, you joined. I can't remember which your first episode was. Actually, I think it was the episode where they announced that Jodie Whittaker was leaving. I think that's when you first came on live, and then you joined in a permanent capacity a few months later.
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, I think I came on like one episode before, but yeah, that was about. What was that? 3 years ago now. So you guys have been running for up to a year, but I was here from the start. I was actually here from the start, from the very, very start. So in the chat, well, it wasn't even in the chat. I was just watching. So, but I'm very privileged and honoured to be a part of Type 40.
Oh.
Bless you.
Yeah, today.
Thank you. And I got to meet some lovely people, including Sarah and Simon and Ian and Charlotte, and it's been a ride. That's for sure.
And
I've learned so much too.
So many catchphrases, haven't you, Ian?
Oh God, yeah.
Catchphrase.
Good luck, everybody.
Do you remember Doctor Who's been woked up to the wazoo? That was another
yes,
previous video.
Yeah, I remember that one. It's one of my favourites.
Fabulous stuff. But of course, and if it wasn't for Ian David Diaz, we wouldn't have the tarts. Would it? Not this sort of tart. She looks like a good, clean girl. This kind of tart. So this is also
that should be included in the artwork. That should be included in the artwork at the end. You know what I mean?
I've always liked tart and custard.
Oh God! Yes.
I mean a custard tart. Sorry.
Yes, so you have been lots of people watching for the first time. I think a big audience tonight. Thank you so much, everybody watching across Rumble, YouTube, and on Facebook there in the Type 40 Facebook group, and for the first time too on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, now well and truly X. I think it's gone pretty well. So let us know what you think of it too. You can find us on X, of course. Follow the account there. Join Type 40's Doctor Who community, also on X. So we set that up just a few days ago for more of that. Or of course you can find us on the other platforms as well. Come and subscribe to the YouTube channel or the Rumble channel or whatever suits. We've got a lot more to get into as we get closer. A lot more to set him square about as well. Yeah. Before we go shuffling off into the vortex. Not so fast. Yeah. Join us again.
No thanks.
Next week, same time and space for more hot takes, cold shoulders, or pet peeves here on Type 40 Live. Simon, you're the other long-standing sort of co-host across this and the podcast too. Did you ever imagine you'd be up this late talking about Doctor Who this regularly?
No, I want to go to bed. Can I never just get to bed early?
No, you don't, Simon. You want to stay up till midnight and have a party. That's what you want to do.
I literally cannot remember my first live show. I remember the first podcast I did with you, Dan, talking about season 18. But I can't remember my first live show. I don't think it was long into the run. I think it was only maybe about fourth or fifth show.
No, you were on the second one. I
was on the second one. Oh, of course, I knew that.
You weren't on the sort of the pilots because I didn't really know it was a pilot at the time. But
I wasn't welcome.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But you predate us, Simon, don't you? You predate
Yes, the first podcast I did was it was pre-COVID. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, that would be late 2018 because the podcast's been running for a lot longer than the live stream.
You even predate that day because you used to be part of what was that thing? The organisation, Doctor Who.
The Hunatics. The Hunatics. I used to run the Hunatics. If there's any Hunatics out there, hello. We do get them still. Yes, I started that in 1987.
There you go.
1987, wow. Incredible. And we still got the Facebook page. Don't forget, go and find us on the Facebook under Doctor Who, the Hunatics. It's still running. All these years later. God blimey. Yeah.
There are so many people in the live chat who have endured this entire journey with us together.
That was another one.
Including Hugh Grant's probably out there somewhere. But
man.
Lord Thoth is here too there with his, now we call that a spanner, but he calls it a wrench. And Lord Thoth is another very loyal moderator.
Yeah,
We're really grateful for all your time and your support here, Lord Thoth.
And Retro
Vanessa. And Retro Doc and all the other moderators here, so it really is appreciated.
Yeah.
It's all part of the Type 40 community here. That's what it's all about.
And everybody in the chat, we love all of your comments. We've said it before. We read them all, although we don't comment on them all. We just keep on reading them. That's why our eyes are always flicking to the side of the screen because we're just reading them the whole time.
And we're still recovering from last Thursday, and you know who you are.
Oh.
Hey, what?
I'm intrigued.
I wasn't there last Thursday. So.
Me neither.
Well, just wait and see. That's all I shall say. Just wait and see. There's something coming.
Yes, we will be back sooner rather than later. Thank you all for your company. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. We'll be back with show 151. 151, my God. Ooh. But for now, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.